Valentino Rossi, Rossi, Valentino Rossi. Na 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 na. Valentino Rossi, Rossi, Valentino Rossi. Steve, my good man, how the devil are you?
I'm a little scared. I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm wonderful, my friend. As is evident, I think, still just in Valentino Rossi fever right now. Obviously, we saw his last race this weekend, and I haven't really got over it yet.
I don't think anyone has yet.
No.
I was speaking to someone at work today who was very sort of, well, he didn't even know what to say. I was like, what did you think of the race? He was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit whimpery. I was like, mate, come on, it's all right. It's all right.
But that's sort of how everyone is now, isn't it? Like, it was even as soon as the race was ended, it was just like, oh, fuck, it's not just the end of a season now. It's like the end of an era. And then we saw all those wonderful videos appearing all over YouTube and stuff. You shared the really nice one in the Facebook group from Yamaha, as if it was like the bike talking to Vale or writing with Vale a love letter. And it was an amazing video. And after 3.5 minutes of that, I was like, God, I feel a bit choked up.
I think a lot of people did. A few people commented in the Facebook group. I wasn't ready for that. I was like, neither was I. I've only watched it. I was like, oh, another one. Let's watch this.
Yeah.
I sat watching it. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, not a dry eye in the house, man.
No, not at all. But, end of an era, buddy.
Yeah, I know. It's big, man.
Live through it. Live through an entire career. Scary.
Yeah, mate. It's huge stuff, isn't it? And like, I feel like I do. And now more than ever, I feel like I really missed out on the Valentino Rossi heyday by just not knowing anything about the sport in the 2000s, essentially. Yeah. So I really missed out on all of that. And I'm quite gutted about it now, more so than ever.
Yeah, I was quite fortunate to like start watching right at the start of his career.
Yeah.
So got to see it all, live through it, experience it. And some of the hype, man, early in his career was just incredible.
But when you go back and look at his records from early in his career, man, like, it's madness. I was looking at, like, 2002. Did he win, like, 11 of 16 races or something?
Yeah.
Like, just craziness.
So dominant. It was just nuts. There was no one to touch him, no one to challenge him. And some of the things he did, you know, like get 10-second penalty. Oh, I'll just win by 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just pull out 10-second gap then. Fair enough.
Yeah, just nuts.
Yeah.
You just living through it, watching it. At the time, you just sat on the edge of your sofa, just like, oh my God, what is he going to do next? There was nothing he couldn't do.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, it's so different. It was just a breath of fresh air. A lot of people, I'm sure, like my age, could relate to him. A lot of wanted to be like him.
Certainly.
And that just made him more approachable, I think.
Yeah.
Or more, not meaningful, but just relatable.
I think a lot of it is he always just appeared as very normal. Just like a really funny, charismatic guy, but the kind of guy you could just meet down the pub. Yeah. And I think everyone managed to see a bit of themselves in Rossi, because everyone really wants to be that funny, charismatic guy you meet down the pub. Very few of us have ever managed it, but we all sort of think we have. So, and I think everyone just saw a bit of themselves in Rossi, and it just made him just the mega star that he became.
Yeah, just built himself such a legacy.
Yes.
And it's just going to continue through like the rest of his, not I want to say career, but not his career, but like the bikes, just his racing team.
Well, exactly. I mean, the rest of his life is set up, isn't it? Like, it's set up monetarily, happy days. He doesn't have to do anything now. But I can't see, even like in 30 years, I feel like MotoGP will still have a Valentino Rossi influence in it.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. And people will still be talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, the things that he did, you know, there was, at one time, it looked like the series might even fold.
Yeah.
And it was just the fact that everyone just basically said between Dorna and himself, just rescued it.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. Whether that's true or not, what the in-depth details are, who knows?
No, but I'm sure that the numbers will bear that out. I'm sure if you looked into it, you look at viewing figures and stuff, pre-Vale viewing figures, then the post-Vale, I suppose, viewing figures. Like, I'm sure there's been just a steady climb. And a lot of that's going to be to do with Dorna's rule sets and stuff. Obviously, Dorna had a huge amount with the CRT machines and stuff to fix what was fundamentally a flawed championship, and they really fixed it. But having the draw of Valentino Rossi there kept the fans there while the championship was fucked.
Yeah, they were lucky that he was there at that time.
Yes.
Otherwise, they'd have been in serious trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they had the perfect solution to the biggest problem. And just by pure chance, he was there at the right time.
Yep, exactly.
Just this flamboyant character who could electrify a crowd. And people loved it. Yeah. They still do.
Still do, and will continue to do to the end of his days, I'm sure.
Aye, and beyond.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Aye.
So that's our little ode to Valentino Rossi at the start of the show there, Steve.
Yeah.
it does feel a little sad that it's all over, but there's plenty more MotoGP to come. There will be a post-Valentino MotoGP Championship, and it will be, like we say, Rossi will be there with his guiding hand, and he'll have all his proteges, and we'll still see him about.
Yeah, he's not going to disappear overnight. I'm sure he'll take a bit of a hiatus. You know, he's got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
He's not going to be in the paddock anywhere near as much as what I think some people think. But he'll still be around.
I'm sure we'll see him for a race or two a year. Yeah. Like he'll be pottering about.
He'll still be at Mugello. I'm sure he'll be at Mugello every year, and he'll be
at Mazzano, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he'll still be there. He's just not quite as on screen as what we used to.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, none of these guys can race forever, and we're just fortunate enough to have been alive when we've seen one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
doing his thing. So could have been worse. We could have been 20 years down the line.
Yes, exactly.
And just, getting into the sport and thinking, well, why is everyone so in love with this guy?
Yeah, who's this Valentino Rossi?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
What was he on about?
It's a bit what I was like with Agostini when people first started talking about him, where I heard people start talking about him. I was like, Ago what?
Well, that's it. I never saw Agostino race.
Yeah.
You know what he's done, but you never lived through it.
No, exactly. So he doesn't hold that same mystique to me that someone like Valentino Rossi or even a Marc Marquez does. Like, it doesn't hold the same mystique.
No, exactly. They're not that living legend.
Exactly.
But there'll be another, I'm sure.
There will be another, and there may well be another right now within the Grand Prix paddock waiting to get there.
Is it? The young Padawan is just sat there ready to step up.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? We will see. Time will tell.
Time indeed will tell, Steve. Shall we dive into the show? Because while I would love to just sit here and talk about Valentino Rossi, we've got a couple of shows penciled in for the off-season for that, where we can just talk about Rossi. But we also have a race review to get to today, so should we dive in?
Let's dive straight into it, buddy.
Good stuff. So, I'm Tim, he's Steve, and this is for the love of MotoGP. Now, if you're new to MotoGP, guys, don't forget to go back and check out our introduction to MotoGP. It will tell you everything you need to know to start enjoying the sport we all love. We break down the rules, what a weekend looks like, the machines, the riders, the storylines. We kind of dive into everything there. I'm aware that it's nearly it is the end of the season now. The season's over. But if you're going to go back and start it again from the beginning, go and check out that show first. Scroll back through your podcast feed. You will find it. It's just called Introduction to MotoGP. Then, Steve, quickly, before we dive into the show proper, just one message. Support for the love of MotoGP is brought to you by Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code MotoGP at manscaped.com. So for full disclosure, Manscaped sent Steve and I each their Perfect Package 4.0 so we could try out the products before spouting off about them to you guys. The set included the Lawnmower 4.0, the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, which turns out to be more of a mouthful than I expected.
It's quite a tongue twister when you start labelling it off.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is good stuff.
It is good stuff. It is good stuff. We also got the Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner, as well as the Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Boxers, which are included for free with every purchase of the Perfect Package 4.0. The razor itself is a wonderful bit of kit. The ceramic cutting blade makes quick work of body hair and reduces the risk of grooming accidents thanks to its skin-safe technology. The small but powerful spotlight helps to illuminate those dark recesses, and different guards allow you to customize the length of whatever hair you're currently grooming. The travel lock stops you accidentally turning the Lawnmower 4.0 on in a drawer or in your bag, like me on the train. Don't want to be doing that. People give you a funny look when things just start vibrating in your bag.
Or like me when you first get it out the bag and it's on there setting.
Yeah, there you go.
You've got to work it out. You're like, what's going on here?
You're like, why is it not working? That's because the travel lock's doing its job. Exactly. I do have a little tale for you, Steve, about the ball deodorant this week.
Oh, God.
This wasn't me asking the cat to sniff my testicles again. This one was, in fact, after the event with the cat and the being accused of asking the cat to sniff my testicles. my housemate said to me, Tim, you're using ball deodorant, aren't you? I was like, yes. Would you like a smell? No, they said very quickly, but they did say, out of curiosity, what does it taste like? So I took one for the team, Steve, and I tasted it. I didn't lick my own balls. I'm not that flexible.
Say, are you that flexy?
No, but I did a proper test as well, Steve. I put some on my hand and I gave it a lick. Tasted a lot like soap, so that weren't great. Then I put a bit more on my hand and I rubbed it in, and I waited a little while, and I waited half hour, could still smell it, licked it, still tasted a little soapy. However, an hour in, I could still smell it, and it tastes like hand, so that was good.
That is good. Now, I tried it as well yesterday and today. I thought, get up, have my shower, go to work. I thought, I'll try some. I'll see how good it is. You know, during the working environment, you get pretty hot work.
Yeah, exactly. You want
its purpose.
Exactly, the chafing. You don't want none of the chafing going on there.
No, you know it's a good thing. At 10 o'clock, when you're about to sit down and have your break, someone asks you, what hand soap you got on? Because it smells great.
Oh my God, and you're like, that's actually my ball deodorant.
Yeah, so I had to stand there and explain, it's not actually hand cream. Because we use a lot of hand cream at work, so we use a lot of chemicals.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're always rubbing stuff in our hands. I was like, this actually isn't a hand cream. And I had to stand there and explain what it was. And this dude was sort of looking at me like, you're a bit nuts.
Nuts was the apt word for that description there. But Steve, he's just jealous because you had such wonderful smelling testicles. That's all that was.
To be fair, it lasts a long time as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's well worth getting. Try it. If you're curious, try it.
I actually did, and Cherie really took one for the team here, but I put some ball deodorant on in the morning after my shower, and we went and moved house and stuff all day, so I was getting pretty warm, and I did say to Cherie, I was like, would you mind just sniffing my groin and tell me if it's as grim as you expect or whether the Manscaped deodorant still works? And she confirmed. It was an amazing thing, Steve. Cherie bent down, went close to my groin, took a sniff, and her eyes lit up. At that moment, I knew I was a winner here because she confirmed that, yes, it still smelt wonderful and not like sweaty ballsack.
No, it has got longevity. This stuff lasts. It's not like just a moisturiser you pop on and 10 minutes later it's gone.
Exactly.
It actually does last a long time.
It really does, guys. So if you want to get 20% off and free shipping, use the code MotoGP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Now, Steve, we have a race to talk about.
We do.
So we know the season is over. And I am feeling, it's not just sad because Valentino Rossi's gone, Steve. I'm just a bit sad the season's over, full stop.
I'm very sad the season's over. More so than I thought it would be at the start of the year. For some bizarre reason, this year more than ever. I think it's just a combination of the whole year.
Yeah.
You know, with what happened last year, I want to say shambles, that's completely the wrong word, because they did an awesome job organising the races last year.
But it was chaotic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And even as a viewer last year, it felt like hard work. I remember saying at kind of this time last year, actually, when we were doing, it would have been the post-Portimao podcast.
Yep.
And I remember saying, look, I'm actually looking forward to some time off now, like some time just where there's not going to be racing on. I could do something else my weekend. And while I still loved it, I was ready. This year, I'm not ready for the season to end, man.
No, not at all. Not at all. This year, to me now, feels like a massive change in the guard.
Oh,
I know
certainly.
we've lost Rossi, we've lost Petrucci, but even on social media with like the Sepang Petronas team emerging to become the RLF team.
Yeah.
It's so many posts of people moving careers.
Yes.
People leaving the paddock to go off and do other things. It seems like a massive shift.
Yeah, certainly.
And because you can go online and follow these people and see what they do, and then you see these posts like on to bigger and better or new things, new chapters, one door closes, one door opens. Oh my God, there's so many people leaving this year, behind the scenes, mainstream that we see all the time. And this year is just a very real sucker punch now that it's here. Now the end is here. I'm really ready for another race this weekend.
Yeah, I am too.
Really gutted this year. And it just, I don't know. Normally I'm like, come on next year. year. This year I'm just like, I don't want this to end.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. But they've done a good thing by doing that because we've been speaking before, haven't we? That if the season gets much longer, it starts to become a bit of a chore.
It does.
And you kind of get to the end of the season with that, I'm glad it's over feeling.
Yeah.
But this year has been obviously longer than last year, but still short enough that it leaves me wanting. If it goes much longer, I ain't going to be left wanting, and then it's going to make the off-season feel a bit strange, and I'm not going to be super keen to watch again the following year. I mean, obviously I'm going to watch again, but this year it's left me so wanting that I just now counting down the days to next season.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Always like that. Just want to get like, let's go. Let's get next year here.
Yeah.
Always want to do it. And I just can't get my head around this one's over.
Yes, that's exactly it.
You want it to be a series where you're left on a massive cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And you've got to wait months or nearly a year for the next series to come out.
Oh my God, imagine how infuriating it would be if they were like, we were actually going to start doing the last race of the season as the first race of the following season, just to leave us on a big cliffhanger for 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing you want to leave us just dangling and wanting.
Yeah, they're like, we've watched enough Game of Thrones to know you guys can wait 3 months to see what's going to happen next.
Oh God, there's not. I think give it a week or two. Once it all settles down and all this is over, the dust has settled, then it'll kick in.
Yeah.
They'll be like, right, let's go for next year. When we start seeing all the testing stuff coming out,
Yeah.
people in the new colours, changes, what's going on, then it'll kick in.
Yeah.
But at the minute, it's been such a dramatic end to the year. It's just taken so long to process it that it's just not kicked in yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So this weekend, if you just like to do a race,
yeah,
that'd be fabulous.
That'd be great if you could.
Just rustle up, I don't know, 10 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we do know we've got that Australian Superbike race to watch in a couple of weeks, but we'll get onto that in a bit. But for now, we'll go to the news, Steve, and just a couple of words here on the Rossi send-off.
Yes.
It was a bit muted compared to what I expected, at least from like a TV viewer's point of view.
Yeah. I want to say I was disappointed with it. I was a little bit. I was kind of hoping for just a bit more.
I kind of expected pyrotechnics and fireworks and a full stage show. I expected I don't know who's big in pop music these days. I was going to say the Black Eyed Peas to come out on stage, but that's very that's 10 years ago, maybe.
I don't know who's big at the minute, but yeah, but maybe that's our expectations and not the expectations of one Mr. Rossi.
Yes, because I do think actually you saw the celebration in his garage and his pit box afterwards. Like, I bet if you were in there, it was banging, mate. It looked like it was such a fun time to be in there.
Yeah, but that's sort of who he is. Doesn't like doing interviews. Very personal kind of guy. Keeps his private life to himself. Yeah. So you knew you were going to get a little bit on track. I thought, like what we said last week, we talked about what I thought with all the bikes coming out. We saw this week they had all his championship winning bikes there.
Yeah, on that note, actually, funnily enough, I listened to the Race MotoGP podcast once I left here last week after recording, and Toby Moody almost bang on had, I know you'd said you'd read out his tweets or whatever it was, his blog that he'd posted, but his audio explanation on the Race podcast was almost exactly the same as what you wanted to see. I was walking down the road listening to it like, shit, people are really just going to think we listened to the race and just copied all their ideas.
I did think that as well. And like, for my own disclaimer, I did say to Tim before I read what Rudy had put, and it was very, very similar.
Yes.
The only thing that he had, I think, thought about that I hadn't was the celebration stuff. Yeah. Which I thought was such a great idea. I did include that because I thought that'd be epic. Yeah. But yeah, the views, Toby's on point. We talk. Yeah. No, we don't. No, we don't at all.
Steve and Toby are actually bros, as it turns out.
No, we don't.
I'd be fuming if it turned out you were bros with Toby and you hadn't like at least introduced me yet.
Has no idea who I am. Yeah, very similar ideas. I would have liked to just seen a little bit more. We got to see that cooling down lap with all the riders gathering around Rossi.
That was an amazing thing. I've never seen that before, man, where like Rossi stopped and just was surrounded. Every rider on the grid stopped, and it was quite a cool, almost like a guard of honor almost surrounding him, and he'd getting off hugging everyone. It was amazing to see.
I would have liked to see if they'd all stopped. He'd given everyone a little pat on the back and a hug, and then it'd all ridden back in together.
That would have been cool.
That would have been nice. And then we saw that CGI effect of all these championship winning years. Yeah. I would like to, that was very similar to what I thought was going to happen, but I would have liked to see it on the lap going round. So they could have given each year just a bit more dedication and really sort of played it out. Maybe had a full view of the bike. Yeah. Just a bit better. I know they probably had a time scale to stick to, and he probably didn't want as much as what we thought.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think what he got in the garage and the party atmosphere was probably exactly what he wanted.
That was the bit he wanted. And we saw a lovely tribute from Suzuki where they had the banner.
Yeah, that was really cool. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, well done to them. That was really nice. But everyone came out to see him. Yeah. He was absolutely swamped. There was a great piece where the BT commentators were waiting him pit lane.
I mean, they overran, didn't they, by about half an hour
Yeah,
on their
just
show
waiting
as
to
well,
see
just
him.
waiting to see him. And
Yeah.
when they finally did, he just sort of waved at them.
Yeah,
and was
ciao,
like,
Susie.
Ciao, Susie, and
Yeah.
just wandered off.
But there was a MotoGP person
Yeah.
who was like stopping everyone from getting interviews.
It's the same guy. I don't know what his name is, but the same guy you always see in Parc Ferme.
Yeah, he's just like, nope, not having it. But I love the fact that when they're all talking about saying goodbye, you can see the garage door just bouncing from the music in the background. You think that's the place to be.
Yeah,
How do I get in
exactly.
there? But they obviously had a great time. They, deserve their party to themselves.
Yeah.
He deserves his own cool down, let off steam. He's an old chap. We
Well,
can't party
exactly.
all night.
I bet he can still party all night, Steve.
bet he
I
can
wouldn't
go.
be surprised if the party didn't end until Tuesday morning.
It's probably still going now. It's probably still going now. And I don't blame him either. Enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, quite.
He's earned it. Everyone who supports him has earned it. They've all been there a long time. There's a lot of people I would have liked to have seen there that weren't there.
Yeah.
But there we go. It's not up to us to organise it. They don't,
Yeah, we're not on the payroll, sadly.
We're not. I'd like to be. I'm just cracking ideas.
Yeah, exactly. That's as good as Steve putting his CV into Dorna. So if you are listening, guys, Steve's your man.
I am here. I bet we come as a duo.
I like that. Thanks, Steve.
No worries. You're coming with me. I need some moral support when the pressure's on. You can do it.
I could be like your Uchiyo, mate. I'll just
could
follow
be
you
the
around
Uchiyo.
and just be your right-hand man. I'll just carry your gloves and your helmet for you and just snarl at people when they get too close.
Oh, yes, definitely. But there's still more to come as well. The BT Sport are doing their Rossi tribute.
Yeah, on the 4th of December,
4th or
I
5th
think.
of December. We'll try and find out exactly when it is. Post it in the Facebook group and online.
Yeah.
When it is, because that will definitely be worth a watch. That's only on BT Sport, though. So if any other networks around the world where you are...
I'm sure there
They
are
must
going to
be
be.
doing
It's
those
going to
things.
be an off-season of Rossi
Rossi's.
documentaries and stuff.
Yes, I'm sure something will come out. Just keep an eye on what your provider is. Have a look through their planner.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be something there.
I have no doubt there'll be something. And we will be doing later on at least a 2-part special of
have
the
to be a
Goodbye
2-part.
Vale and go through his career and stuff.
I will probably have to record. I'll have to put the day off after. Day off after?
It will be a 2-part, mate. It'll be a couple of weeks. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Put the day after off. There we are. Got
Day
it
off
right.
after. Hey, either way works. I
Either
wouldn't worry
it
about
works. All the words are right in the wrong order.
it. Everyone knew what you meant, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
I really liked all the VR46 riders wearing Valentino Rossi replica
like
helmets.
that.
I think that was really, really cool.
I did really like that.
And I also quite enjoyed, but also sort of hated the fact that every time they showed someone on camera over the race weekend, if it was someone not racing, so, in the pit boxes or wherever it was, somewhere around the paddock, they'd also put up a little screen to explain how this person knew Valentino Rossi and what their relationship to Rossi was. And it was stuff like when they showed Danny Pedrosa in his full KTM gear. They're like, Danny Pedrosa, Valentino Rossi rival from 2006 to whenever he retired. I was like, oh, come on. Like, everyone knows who Pedrosa is at this point. He's much more than a Valentino Rossi rival. And then they were showing other people that was like Valentino Rossi's crew chief from 1996 to 1997. I was like, geez, there's everyone in this paddock has got some connection with Valentino Rossi.
They're all there. But one of those things caused a bit of talking point on Twitter. There was the Casey Stoner one.
Okay.
Where it put Casey Stoner, Valentino's rival from such and such and such and such. But it didn't list 2-time world champion.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rossi rival from here and here. And there's a few people say, you didn't really, they should have included the 2-time.
Yeah, and that's what I thought about the
champion.
Danny Pedrosa one as well. I'm like, give the guy his credit. This guy's won, I don't know how many races he's won in MotoGP.
loads.
40
Runner-up
odd
for
races. Yeah, exactly.
How many years?
A very successful career, but he's just like Valentino Rossi's rival.
Yeah, but I think it was just more their link to
That's exactly
Rossi.
it. Yeah.
So what they are in themselves was put aside for their link solely to him. So however you perceive it, it was just I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
There's no
that's exactly
disrespect to anyone meant
Yeah.
by anything. But yeah, there was a lot of people mentioned.
Yeah, huge amounts, mate.
And probably a lot that they didn't mention because they didn't have time.
Without doubt. I mean, I imagine, I don't know what the percentage is, but I imagine a huge percentage of those people have worked directly with Valentino
Must
Rossi,
have done.
if not worked alongside Valentino Rossi for an entire season. Like, it's going to be huge numbers of the people in that paddock.
Yeah, absolutely. Loads of them.
Yeah, exactly. And then Steve, Valentino Rossi, as if he wasn't already, went and became a MotoGP legend.
It is official.
He-
At the FIM Awards,
That's exactly it. They took place after the final race in Valencia. They were at 8 o'clock that night, our time, so I guess 7 o'clock local time that night or whatever. And they surprised Valentino with the induction into the MotoGP Hall of Fame to officially become the MotoGP legend.
Yeah, well deserved.
Certainly well deserved, man. Probably one of the most deserving guys in there, without a doubt.
I did like it when they handed him the little box with the medal in it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm getting that out."
Yeah, just putting that straight on.
And they're like, "Yeah, I'm sure it comes out." And he's already got it out of the box. He's like, "There you go, put this on me."
Yeah. Imagine if they'd just not like done up the ribbon properly or something.
Yeah, it's just the medal. He's
floor.
dropping it on the floor. Oh, shit, where's that gone?
He's like, "Why'd you give me such a shit medal?"
Yeah.
He's like, "After 26 years, why such a shit medal?"
I get the same crap as everyone else, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine like he's now got to find space for this in his cabinet.
Oh, the nice thing is though, it's on a ribbon, so you can just hang it up on like a doorknob somewhere.
Yeah, back of the bathroom door.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. You want it somewhere focal.
Yeah.
that no one's really going to think about. But when you're sat there, you're like, "Oh, medal."
To tell you what, if I was sitting there in Valentino's house, say I'm at Valentino's for a party, this is obviously a wild...
This is hypothetical.
Yeah. I'm at Valentino's for a party, I've had a few bevies, I'm going to go for a wee.
Everything.
I'd be obviously nicking everything, yes. But after a few drinks especially, I'm a bit of a lazy weir. I'll definitely a sit-down weir.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd have a few beers, I'd be sitting down having my wee, and looking, and there, hanging on the back of the bathroom door, is Valentino Rossi's MotoGP Hall of Fame Legend Medal. At that point, I think two things. I'm like, that's really cool. He's got a MotoGP Hall of Fame Legend Medal. And the other part of me goes, shit, that's on the back of his bathroom door. Imagine what his trophy cabinet's like.
Exactly. Third thing, no one else is in here. I can have a picture of that.
I'd be like, maybe I could just take that home.
Maybe you won't notice.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, he's like, "Where the fuck's my medal?"
It's just selfies of me and his medal all over.
Yeah. Social media. Tim, where's my medal?
But I'm just taking it travelling, mate. I'll be back later.
Yeah, so, like taking it on a world tour. See ya.
Yeah.
Deary me.
So I'm sure Vale knew sooner or later he was going to become a MotoGP legend, but the timing was a big surprise for him. And actually, he looked a bit choked up during his speech.
He did, yeah. I think by that point, it probably started to set in.
Certainly, and I'm sure he'd had a couple of champagnes at the thing, yeah.
I'm surprised, like, when he goes to an award ceremony after a day like that, I wouldn't be standing.
No, mate, I'd be KO'd.
I'd be out of it. I'd be like, I don't know, a rock star standing up on stage after they've just been in the back of a tour bus, drinking bottles of champagne for 2 days, and then you realise, shit, I've got to look sober now.
Yeah, like, fuck, I've got to do something. I'd have been slaughtered, mate. Like, I think I would have been napping by that point if I was him.
I'd never been napping. I probably would have been trying to hold a straight face and walk down that aisle straight.
Yeah, just zigzagging, slapping everyone on the head on the way past.
Just get up on stage, grab Gavin, and be like his kid. We're going straight past the woman, Gav, come here.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you what though, Steve, this is the first time I've actually seen any of the FIM Awards, and I didn't watch the whole thing. It's on my to-do list. I watched the highlights and a few bits and bobs here and there. What I really liked about it is I expected this to be like a proper gala, to be like people sitting around tables like the Oscars or the BAFTAs or something. But it really looked a bit shit. It just looked like a lot of people sitting in chairs at like a high school ceremony, and they're all getting like their A4 bits of paper. I watched Remy Gardner get his like Moto2 World Champion certificate, like an A4 bit of paper that his mum's going to put on the fridge or something. Like, it really looked bad.
I got one over there Brody got today for learning the sign language for duck.
There you go. That's pretty cool. It's Brody learning sign language.
Yeah, the kids do sign language.
I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah, we thought we've always banged on about how in Britain we're pretty crap for learning
100%.
second languages. So we said from a young age we're going to teach them a second language. So we thought we'd go the whole hog.
Sign language is, and sign language is a really cool one because if at any point in his life or either of their lives they can get this sign language nailed. And at some point, and this will happen, I've seen enough rom-coms to know this will happen, one of them's going to be on a date, and they'll be able to pull out their sign language to chat to a random stranger in there, and the person they're on a date with is going to swoon and think that this is the best day of their lives.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying learn sign language just because it's good for your date life, but it's going to be good for your dating life.
It's different as well. If everyone goes, what language are you learning? French, Spanish, Italian, German.
Like BSL.
Yeah, I am learning sign language.
Yeah, exactly. I like that a lot.
You can now do duck.
Nice. He's getting there.
He is getting there. He's like 4 or 5. There's another one on the fridge. Like, you can see one from here. Congratulations. And the little baby hanging down with
the
Brody.
tiny talk one. Okay. There we go. So much like the parents of Remy Gardner right now having the certificate of his Moto2 World Championship on the fridge, you've got certificates for Brody learning sign language, which arguably is a more impressive feat.
It's quite impressive, yeah, for 18 months old.
Yeah, that's fair.
Pulling out of the bag.
There we go. There we go. See, Remy Gardner's one thing, but your kid Brody, boys. Mate, that's the next one.
MotoGP riders.
I did particularly enjoy during the FIM Awards, Steve, the Pedro Acosta speech, and this really got to me, and it was just the one line from the speech, which was, "We will continue to try to have fun and be the same lucky bastards we are."
That's brilliant.
I was like, that's perfect. And it really, I find it quite pleasing that this kid who's like 17, man, there standing in, I said this to you before, he looks like he'd gone to prom. He just finished high school wearing this suit, and he's really weirdly gangly, and he's not built yet, and he still looks quite dorky and like a small child, and just a bit stuck in that awkward teenage phase. And yet still, and has just dominated and won the Moto3 World Championship on his first try at 17, and still has the wherewithal to be able to be like, look, we're all pretty fucking lucky. Like, we are all lucky to be here, and I just really appreciate that. I think he's a top lad, and I hope he does very well next year.
Oh, I did love the fact with the FIM Awards that most of them, they all dressed up. They all had suits on of some version, but I love the fact that 90% of them still had the Converse on.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, if you watch it back, look at the shoes when they come walking out from the back. Most of them have got trainers on.
Yeah, that's what I like, mate. I'm very pro of that. They are guys and girls that know how to be comfortable, and if they're going to be forced to wear a suit, they're going to wear their black trainers. And I tell you what, Steve, come your wedding next year, that's going to be me, mate. I'm all about the black trainers. Don't worry. I actually found my black trainers while I was moving, which is quite nice, so I can give them a bit of a clean up. And
don't worry about cleaning them.
Honestly, they need to clean. But then I'm all good to go. Then my suit is complete.
Nice. I've got to book this wedding now. Jesus.
No pressure now, eh?
Yeah. Shit, Tim's ready. We better go if we've got to do it.
So moving on through the news, Steve, we mentioned it briefly as we were starting. Jack Miller is going to be racing in the final round of Australian Superbikes this year.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I'm quite stoked for this. Got to find out where I can watch it.
Yeah, I don't know where we can watch it, but I am sure that
I could dig it out from somewhere.
Yeah, and people are going to be pushing it. Australian Superbikes are going to be pushing it. Dorna are going to be pushing it. Like it will be. We'll be able to somewhere. It. Yeah, certainly.
I know we can get Moto America. I'm sure we could get something from the Aussie Superbikes.
Yeah,
and it'd be great for that series as well.
Oh, amazing for that series, man! Because for the first time, like I might even pay the £10 or whatever it is to watch the weekend just because Jack Miller's there. Yeah, and I'm not the only fucking idiot that's going to be doing that.
Loads of people will do it, mate. Because they just want to see what he could do. Imagine if he goes and wins it.
It's a weird thing, though, isn't it? Because what if he goes and doesn't win it?
I know, and he's like, suddenly, hang on.
Yeah, exactly. Because then all the casual observers are like, shit, he's a MotoGP rider.
Yeah. Whereas, I could be a MotoGP rider.
Exactly. It's the weird thing. But is he going to go and win it? Probably not. No. Because he's going to be on a bike that he's not ridden many laps on, if any. Like, he's going to be racing completely different tyres, I assume. I don't actually know.
I don't know what they run over there.
Tyres, but I assume it'll be different tyres. It's a super bike to start with. He's getting the Panigale V4R.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good spec of machine. And I mean, if he is anywhere near the top guys, it's just incredible.
Yeah. I don't know. Aim for a top
But maybe he can go and win. I also wouldn't be surprised if he did win.
Just pull it out of the bag and all of a sudden he's like, got a trophy.
Yeah, quite.
Fucked you all up.
I do think it's quite a brave move, though, isn't it?
It is quite. Imagine if something goes wrong.
Well, even if he doesn't get injured, if he just fucks it and finishes like 12th in both races, or I don't know how many races they do in Australian Superbikes, but I assume it's 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah, it's got to be 2.
If he just fucks it and finishes outside the points, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, what are you doing? And I love his thing. He's like, it'll be a laugh. I'm just going to do it because it's going to be a laugh.
Yeah. It's like, hang on, you're going to compete in your national Superbike Championship just for a laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, those people would die over there for that opportunity. And if you get your ass handed to you,
yeah, it will be embarrassing. But again, imagine now, I don't know what the title situation is looking like in Australian Superbikes, but imagine if he gets caught up in the title battle and ends up winning a race and someone loses the title because Jack's gone and won it.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it could be amazing.
These Aussies don't hold back. There'll be no shoeies. They'll be throwing the shoeies.
I don't know. I reckon actually the Australian Superbike paddock is a lot like what we think when we think of like the Barry Sheene era of Premier Class racing,
oh my
where
God.
everyone's sort of bros. Everyone's hitting the bar afterwards. They're all having like barbecues at the RVs. I reckon they all hang out and have a proper good time.
I would admit, I hope so. I saw a great little post online earlier where someone's handed Jack Miller a beer in the garage, and he opens the bottle with his teeth.
Oh my god!
But then runs off with the beer.
That's so good.
He's like, "You want me to open this? I'm drinking it." So yeah,
That's so funny. As if Jack Miller, MotoGP extraordinaire, is cracking bottles with his teeth.
I'll find it after we finish recording and show you. Remind me. He literally just like pops it with his teeth. He's like, "I'm having this now."
Jesus.
And just like turns his back and walks.
You can tell the man's a millionaire because he can afford the dental treatment if it all goes wrong.
If I tried that, mate, there'd be gaps.
Yeah, exactly. I used to do that as a teenager.
I
can't do it now, mate. Not a chance.
No, not since I broke my jaw. My teeth have fall out.
Yeah.
All barely holding in as it is.
Yeah, it's a hardcore guy. But yeah, a very brave move, but a good boom for the series, and good for his brand in general. Exactly. Like it just looks very good for him.
Advertise it, even if he comes out, just has a great time and just.
As long as he doesn't come out and wipe anyone off, it doesn't really matter for the Jack Miller brand.
Don't hurt anyone else. Don't hurt yourself. And just come out of it looking good. Yeah, and you're fine.
It's going to be a lot of fun, mate. It'll be a lot of fun.
If it looks like you're not going to do too well, fake a mechanical.
Yeah. Do a Maverick Vinales and just bean the engine. Just hit the limiter and bounce it there and wait till it blows up.
Yeah, just ping it off that limiter for 5 minutes. You'd be golden.
Or pull the classic I had a dodgy tyre move.
Yeah, I got something in my eye.
Yeah.
Got a bee sting. Got to pull in.
It's Australia, mate. That's going to be a nasty bee sting.
That would be a nasty bee sting. You'd be straight off airlifted. I would anyway. We got stung by something.
Yeah, like, fuck, I need an air ambulance now.
Yeah, get me to hospital.
Right, anyway, before we embarrass ourselves anymore with our Australian stereotypes here, let's move on to Suzuki, and they're closing in on a new team manager, Steve.
Yeah.
So after a pretty rough year, Suzuki are finally looking like they're ready to replace Davide Brivio, who, as we know, left to join Alpine in Formula 1 this time last year.
Yeah.
There were rumours Brivio was going to return to the Japanese factory, but these seem to have been extinguished, with Brivio himself being like, no, I'm going to stay in Formula 1.
I think it was just the fact he turned up in the paddock.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And everyone's like, he's back.
And everyone, we're just all suckers for
a
good romantic story. Yeah, exactly.
Someone's got a picture. Someone's written an article, GP1, and just gone, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's
as far as GP1 are concerned, mate, Davide Brivio is now like president of the United States or something.
Oh, he could be doing anything.
Yeah.
He's off running MI5 or something.
Yeah. So we do know it won't be Davide Brivio, but they have said they are closing in on someone, and it seems now the rumours are pointing once again to Johan Stigefeld, who, as we know, has just lost his job due to the Petronas debacle, the RNF rebrand, etc., etc.
All right. So, well, we'll find out.
We will find out. And I think it's been quite evident this year. Suzuki need kind of a hand to steer them, don't they?
Yeah. Brivio, well, just look at the results. He left this time last year, and the fortunes this year have been nothing like what we used to.
No race wins this year.
One podium.
Rins had one podium. Mir's taken a few, I think. It's a handful of podiums between.
Yeah, it's not much. It's nothing like we used to seeing.
No.
Average race wins, number of points way down. Bad times. So they need a guiding hand. They need someone to manage the team. They can't just share out the duties among everyone that's already there like they have been doing.
Yeah, they tried that approach. That's clearly not worked.
No,
something new.
Yeah, we've given it a bash. We fucked it. Bring someone in.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. Obviously written a lot better than that when it was said, we're going to have to fill this position.
It would be really good if that was their press release and job ad, though, wasn't it? We tried, we fucked it, we need you.
Yeah, come now. Just that World War II advert of that dude pointing at you.
Exactly.
We need you.
That would be great.
Yeah, we tried, we failed, come.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
But yes, we'll wait and see what happens there. But it's looking like someone will be there to be the guiding hand for them next season onwards.
Yeah, you going to put your CV in?
Well, it sounds like they're already getting close, Steve, and they didn't even ask me. So
they did not? Gusted.
I'm a bit offended. I feel like maybe after Livio Super said no, after Davide Brivio couldn't come back, like I'm clearly the next choice above Johan Stigefeld, right?
Wait, what's Stiggy know?
We're quite, Steve. What does Stiggy know?
Don't listen, Stiggy.
Anyway, let's move it on one more, Steve. Marc Marquez here. His recovery is going to be closely monitored by doctors over the winter. Alberto Puig has said that Marquez's injury is very complex and will be closely monitored in the off-season. And as we all know, he won't be taking part in the Jerez test coming up in a day and a half from when we're recording. But guys, when you're listening, it could be happening right now. And he will therefore not be back on a MotoGP bike until next year, man.
That's nuts. Another massive gulf in time off the bike.
Big dent for Honda as well, especially when you look at what happened to Paul Espargaro at the weekend.
Yes, not good. I really think there is more to this than what they're letting on. I think this is, again, worse than what we have been led to believe. He's obviously aggravated that old injury.
Well, we know that is the problem, isn't it? We know he's done damage to the nerve in his, I can't remember which eye it is now.
I think it's right eye, isn't it?
Right
I can't
remember. One of the eyes.
We've got a 50-50 chance.
Exactly. You say right, I say left. We'll
go on it. We've got it. We've nailed it. Seamless. I honestly think if they're monitoring his recovery that much now, they're worried.
Yeah, I know. They have to be worried, don't they? The guy can't even see straight at the moment. I'm worried for him at this point.
I think everyone's worried for him.
I'm more worried than I was when he smashed his arm up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he smashes his arm up, and it's I'm gutted as a fan that he can't
could
ride
get
a
by.
motorbike again. But he's going to get by in day-to-day life again.
Yeah.
He's got all the money in the world, so he'll be okay. But fucking your vision up, mate, is something completely different.
That's a completely different ball game. It's nothing to be taken lightly. And at this point, I would rather the doctors pulled him on medical grounds and said, that's it for your career. And then him come back and do it a third time and then risk losing his sight.
Yeah.
You can't take that risk. The guy has done some immense things. Yes, okay, from a viewing fact, it would make me feel like we've been robbed of what's potentially could have been. But then the arm injury did that.
Yes.
Not just this. So the combination of the two, I think medically, you've got to start asking the question, are you ever going to be fit enough, A, to ride this bike again? And what is going to be the risk of re-injuring it if it's happened a second time, the percentage is going to start coming down before the risk becomes too much.
Certainly.
So, I don't know. I think we'll see something early next year where he says, like, on medical grounds, I've got to retire.
Yeah.
Really do.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it. I don't think we will, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we did see it.
Yeah. I'm just... If we do lose him at the paddock, I just hope that whatever condition he is in, he's able to regain his sight.
Just live a normal life afterwards.
Just the natural racer in him, I think he's going to push and try.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, that natural racer is what put him in this fucking mess in the first place.
But, end of the day, his health is far more important than our entertainment, which is all this is.
Yeah, certainly.
So, yeah, I'm convinced that over the course of the winter, we're going to see an announcement.
It was an interesting point, though, isn't it? Because he's not just doing it for our entertainment. He's doing it for the love of doing it. And is his choice, his personal choice, and his love for doing it, is that then worth the risk as long as he's willing to take that risk on? Maybe it is. But as long as he's not endangering anyone else.
No, that's it. You've got to add that factor into the equation. That
Yeah.
Let's say he does recover, but then we don't know what's going to kick it off. Or medically, they might know what could kick it off in the future.
Bang to the head, probably. It seems to have done it every other time.
Yeah, but then it could... This from now on, if he does recover, it could just take less and less to aggravate it.
Yes, certainly.
Piece of... Come around a corner and just get a full ball glare in the face from the sun could set it off if you're straining the eye.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know, do
I'm
we?
assuming that, I'm no doctor. But...
No, but that's the point. Like what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It will take less and less each time. We saw this with his shoulder, didn't we? Every time he fell, it was popping out to the point when Scott Redding slapped him on the back to congratulate him for winning the title.
Yeah. Then you got to wave flags at Redding to stop him doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's time to stop. I really do. No one wants to see him come out of this not able to live a normal life.
I also don't want to see him stop, though.
No,
I'm sort of in this thing where I'd like to see him come back and do one more championship.
Yeah,
just come back
get
and
that
do
10th.
It. Yeah.
This
9th.
9th, sorry. 9th, yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of Rossi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And we've seen him recover over the course of this year so well.
And win 3 races this year. I mean...
3 more than some. They've won in the last how many years?
Well, quite. 3 more than Aleix Espargaro has ever won.
Exactly.
It's madness. And when you think that the people that won races this year, Quartararo won more races than him, and Bagnaia won more races than him.
That's it.
But no one else did.
Exactly. That is an insane number. So if he does come back, I just hope to God that he is able to ride normally, safely for himself and everyone else, and that he's in a position where if he does fall off, that's not it straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
He could take that bump, knock on the head, and walk away from it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
We'll wait and see, eh?
Wait to see, mate.
As if we've got another off-season of waiting and seeing whether Marquez comes back.
It feels like this could become a norm. All these injuries are adding up. The arm, the shoulder, the head now.
Yeah.
You know, what next?
Quite.
Fingers. I've got no fingers left.
Well, legs in it next.
Yeah, legs. Has he damaged the leg yet?
Has he broken a leg?
I don't think he has.
I think he has. I think he rode the early part of 2019 with a broken leg, but didn't tell anyone. Or was it earlier than that? Maybe it was 2016?
It might have been earlier than that. It was an off-season accident.
Yeah, I think he damaged his femur, and it wasn't properly broken, but cracked, nasty. And he just raced and won races in like the first 4 races of that year.
Right, I can't remember him, but it wasn't like you say mainstream news because they just kept it quiet.
Yeah, he didn't really tell anyone until afterwards. Yeah,
it's like I've been recovering from this. What?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
how?
You still just gone and won all those races.
Yeah, normal people, everyday people are fucked for months.
Yeah, man. Like I broke my leg, and I'm game over for 6 weeks at least till I'm even standing. Let alone till I'm like back at work.
These guys like 4 weeks. Yeah, I'll be on that bike. What?
Yeah, exactly. They're like 2 weeks, and I'm just gonna be like jogging again.
Yeah, collarbone injury. Yeah, we'll be back 2 days time.
Yeah, play it in. I'm good to go.
What kind of painkillers you
Fucking
boys
idiots,
got?
mate. Adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline is an insane thing.
It's a wonderful, wonderful drug, my friend. The last bit of news, Steve. I was going to try and relate this to wonderful drug somehow, but can't really do it. Maybe the feeling of looking at your first child. I don't know. I've never been there, but you have. Maybe the feeling of looking at your first child is like a wonderful drug. That emotion you get, the feeling inside. I don't know. This is some shit I'm spouting to someone who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Mate, the first 2 seconds, they look minging.
Well, I'm aware of that, but most people don't say that. Even people who have had kids don't say that. They say, I stared into their eyes and all of a sudden I knew I was going to be a better man and everything was going to be okay. But you didn't come out with a romantic line that I'd really hoped for there, to be honest.
Oh, right.
We actually have a close friend, Steve, who I'm not going to name, who did once say to me that he didn't realise he wanted to have kids. He knew he didn't want to have kids. And then his missus got pregnant and he was saying to me before the birth, he's like, fuck, man, I don't know if I can do this. He's like, I don't know. And then I saw him the day the kid was born. I went and met him for a pint and he was like, do you know what? My life changed. He's like, I looked at that child and I knew I was wrong. I knew I'd been a fucking idiot and I knew everything was going to be okay. He's like, instantly I fell in love with the child and everything's been fine. And everything's still fine since for him. So I was hoping you'd come out with some really romantic notion like that, but no, the children are minging is what we went for. And
I'll just give it to you straight.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That first 2 seconds, the first thing I thought about Enzo, because both my kids were C-section.
Oh, okay.
So they were proper drenched.
Yeah.
I remember they pulled Enzo. Now, when you have a C-section over here, I don't know what it's like abroad, they put a big curtain up so you can't see what's going on.
Could you see what was going on?
No, you sit head end.
Would you be allowed to if you'd have been like, can I have a nose? Would they have been like, yeah, go for it?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Anyway, at this point, they're doing what they're doing. She's bobbing around a little bit as they're pulling about.
Yeah.
And this doctor goes, he's here. And I was like, well, he's quiet. So I put my head up to have a look. And obviously she's open.
Oh my God. You just got to see inside.
I've seen bits of her that she will never see.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I nearly threw up.
Oh, mate. I'd have been like, oh my God, let me take a picture of this bad boy. Have been. I find that so interesting, man.
No, mate, freaked me right out. I was like,
at least you didn't throw up inside her stomach. That would have been terrible.
That would have been bad. But no, they lifted him out. They held him up. He screamed. I screamed. It was a beautiful moment. But they did. They took him straight off, cleaned him up, handed it to me, and he wasn't screaming. Sarah was a bit doped up, all on morphine. So she was coming too. They handed him. He just sort of looked at me. I looked at him, and I thought, we're going to have an adventure.
There we go. See, we're going to have an adventure. That's the kind of romantic shit I wanted to hear, Steve.
Yes, mate. Well, Brody, it was mid-pandemic.
Oh,
that was an interesting one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because I was left. I had to drop Sarah off at the hospital. Waters were broke. She's puffing and panting, in a lot of pain. So I kicked her in the hospital. I weren't allowed in.
You weren't allowed in at all?
No, I had to wait outside.
Jeez.
Because it was all full of Rona.
How long were you outside for?
About what felt like 2 days.
Okay.
But it's more like 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay. It really wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. In that time, I think I smoked 60 fags. Just pacing around the car park. Got a phone call. You can come in now. They got her in her own room. So I grabbed whatever I could out of the car. Non-essential shit, of course.
If you're like, why have I got screen wash?
Yeah, literally. Legged it in the hospital, got in the room, like dumped everything down. Things are going nuts. She was due to have a natural birth, but he was coming too quick for her, so they wheeled her off. It was then I looked at the bag and went, I've brought the washing in.
Oh, no.
And at this point, I had poked my head out this door, and I was like, I've brought the wrong bag, can I go to the car? And all hell broke loose, because I was going to leave like a secure green ward with no Rona to go out through the potentially Rona-ridden hospital to come back in.
Oh, that's great.
And they all went nuts, like spraying me with shit, getting stuff ready for when I came back. But yeah, I got back in, I then got sprayed again, all my bags got searched, sprayed, and then waiting for me was Brody. All swaddled up. Looking lovely, because they'd had time to clean him down.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have to look into the depth of Sarah's stomach for this one.
No, he was all wrapped up. And the first thing he did was open his gob and just went, feed me. Basically,
Happy days.
Little tongue was going, he just wanted feeding.
I'm still a bit like that now, to be fair.
Basically, they're just like baby birds. Feed me.
You just can't vomit in their mouths for some reason.
No,
that's
they
not
don't
okay,
like that.
especially
They
not
really
in the
don't like
maternity
that.
ward.
Don't try it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was all good as gold, just laid there looking at me. Like, where's the food at, mate?
And there is a reason for talking about children here, Steve. We haven't just gone off on a ridiculous
I
tangent.
did realise
that.
that. We just went off on a major tangent without really explaining where we're going.
Well, it wasn't
with
really a
this.
tangent because we knew what was going on. It was, but for
There's
you
no one
guys
else
listening,
does.
yeah, not a fucking clue. But Miguel Oliveira has had his first child that we know of.
Well, he hasn't. She has.
Well, yes, but it's his child, isn't it? We assume. I don't know. I'm still assuming, but I'm going to say she's not having an affair and it is his child.
Yes.
So congratulations to the two of them. I hope it was less traumatic than Steve's first child experience.
I'm sure it was fine.
And maybe even I hope it wasn't the same as Steve's second child experience there, because no one wants to just be sprayed with disinfectant when they're about to see their new baby.
No, and it stung as well.
Yeah.
Proper nasty stuff. But yeah, congratulations to them. Don't know what they had. Just saw a little snippet on Instagram, a little picture earlier. So
a human child of some description.
Yeah, it was a tiny spawn. Enjoy.
Yep, enjoy. Enjoy. That's coming from a man with 2 kids, isn't it? Fuck, I don't know what to say at this point. Enjoy.
3 a.m, mate. I've got 3 a.m. And it's now, what is the time now? 9:30 at night.
9:30. Yeah, you're doing all right, mate. That's a solid 18 hours so far.
Yeah.
So you're doing okay.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Right then, Steve, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into our Moto3, Moto2 top 5 finishers, and then into our full MotoGP race review.
Do that, buddy.
Good stuff. Bear with us for one moment, guys, and we will be right back with you. Thank you for being with us there, guys. We are back, fresh beer in hand.
There it is.
There it is. It still took me a minute, Steve. The stubby little fingers are still getting in the way.
Stubby little fingers.
Yeah. But yep, fresh beer. Bladder is empty. I did stub my toe pretty hard on the way up the stairs, Steve, but I thought I'd just style it out because obviously you and Sarah were in the living room and your kids are asleep upstairs, so I didn't want to scream as much as I actually wanted to scream.
You could have screamed.
Well, yeah, but then I'd have woken the kids up and then everyone's going to be raging. So
Yeah, we have a rule. You break it, you fix it. So
quite. See, that's exactly why I didn't do it, because I don't want to be the one that has to put them back to bed, mate.
No, Brody would probably be like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly. He's never sleeping again.
Although after you gone Sunday, because you came around and watched all the racing, obviously we had the boys because Sarah was out playing football.
Yeah.
Enzo didn't notice you gone straight away.
Did he not?
No, it was only about half an hour afterwards. Like, where's Uncle Tim? Uncle Tim's gone, mate. Oh. And he was like, when's he coming back?
I mean, I'm sure I said goodbye to everyone.
You did.
That's okay then.
His little mind, sometimes he gets a bit sort of, I'm playing.
That's fine. I do that all the time, mate.
Yeah, they were a bit bored as well.
Yes. I think they were pretty fed up by the end of the MotoGP race. They're like, we've really sat here and been quiet for enough races now. Please, can we start playing again?
Start raging this place out.
Yeah.
Get the blocks out. They did start, but we did tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. You did the responsible dad thing and you were like, get in your high chair and eat some food. We're watching racing.
Yeah. Basically, here's the food.
And I did my usual and sat on the sofa and just drank a beer.
I tried.
So, Steve, let's dive into the Moto3 and Moto2 top 5 finishers, and we will start with Moto3. Actually, before we start that, I just want to say I'm very surprised at how good the racing was at Valencia.
Every now and again, Valencia throws up a cracker.
And this really was a good one, mate. Good in all classes. And I was starting to wonder, have I been quite unfair about this track? I don't think I have. I just think this was a particularly good weekend of racing at Valencia.
Yeah, every now and again it throws up some really good stuff.
Yeah.
And this was just one of them. And plus the fact it had a lot of hype around this one as well.
Certainly, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, that made it all the better.
Yeah.
We were just lucky that all three classes were good.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think we both said the other day, we're like, really hope we'd sat through Moto3, banging.
Oh, Moto3 was so good.
Yeah, Moto2, cracking.
Yeah.
We're like, right, here we go. This is going to go one of two ways.
Yeah, and MotoGP arguably was the least exciting race of the weekend, but it still wasn't a bad race.
Yeah, for a Valencia race, because we slate Valencia quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it was a good one for Valencia.
Yes, definitely.
So, yeah, nice, good day of racing.
Yep, exactly. So, Moto3 then, Steve, onto that. This really was the best race of the day.
This was awesome.
And it really was just a good way for Moto3 to end the season. It was a shame Acosta got knocked off by Foggia, but, I can't blame Foggia for this. To start with, I thought this was really all Foggia. I thought Foggia had just taken too much speed into the corner and just punted him off, but you see a lot of the replays, and it really was like Acosta didn't need to hang it around the outside. He could have just shut the throttle briefly and got back on it. He didn't need to be there, and I think if he was still fighting for the title, he probably wouldn't have hung it on around the outside, but it was just a do-or-die move, wasn't it? And he just got on the wrong side of that, sadly.
Yep.
So the top five looked like this. Fifth place was Dennis Onchu, who had a fantastic return after his 2-race ban.
Yes, he did.
He had something to prove and proved it well. He was at the front, fighting at the front, leading for a lot of the race. It was very good to see. Fourth place was Philip Salac. Third place was Jame Masia, who we all know as Acosta's teammate. Second place was Sergio Garcia. Obviously, Garcia was the one guy that was running Acosta close for much of the season until Foggia really came into some form and Garcia got injured, which he had to sit out a couple of rounds. And first place was Javier Artigas, who won his first Moto3 race. He's teammates of Foggia, and we saw much in the latter half of the season, didn't we, where he would let Foggia through, or he would be playing a proper wingman role to Foggia. But
he really did play the team board as well.
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't have to worry about that this race, and he went out and really won and looked good doing so. So I'm excited to see what he can do next year.
Yes, he's definitely one to keep an eye on for next year.
Yeah. So, Moto2, overall, this was a great performance from Raul Fernandez. Sadly for him, it wasn't quite enough. Gardner did enough to take the title, but I did sort of make hard work of it in this race.
There was one point in that race where I think Raul was leading.
Raul was leading and Remy was down in like 11th.
Yeah.
But the guys behind him, the three guys behind him, were within a second.
And they were closing.
Enough, and that was enough for him to lose the title if he'd lost that spot.
I think even the commentators were like, hang on, this is not in the script.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, whoa, shit, it's not over yet.
Yeah, but no, unfortunately, not to be for him.
Yeah, Remy managed to pull it through, score the points he needed. And the top five looked like this. Aaron Canet finished 5th. Celestino Vietti was 4th. Augusto Fernandez finished 3rd. Fabio Di Gian Antonio was 2nd. And Raul Fernandez won his 8th race in his rookie season in Moto2, beating one Marc Marquez for rookie race wins.
He certainly did. That's one title taken away.
Yeah, that's quite incredible. It's going to be very exciting. I really, really hope KTM can provide a bike for Raul next year, because
they have to.
And for everyone, like all 4 KTM guys next year are stunning riders, and it's going to be a real shame if KTM don't produce a quality machine. And if they don't produce a quality machine, I fear they could lose Miguel Oliveira. I fear they'll lose Raul Fernandez quite quickly. I think
you're right.
Gardner and Binder are there for the long term. I'm not convinced about Oliveira and Raul Fernandez.
No, they've got to pull something out of the bag for that bike next year.
Yeah.
Let's say if they do, I'm with you. I think they'll lose 2 riders. So, but we'll see. Hopefully they can work on it.
Yes, and I mean KTM have worked themselves out of bigger holes on this one in the past.
Just a bit. We'll see. Time will tell.
Yes, certainly. On to MotoGP then, Steve. This is where all the real action was at. And my first question here is, what fucking universe are we living in, Steve? Ducati domination of Valencia is something I never expected to see.
No, not at all.
Madness, mate. Top 3 in qualifying, top 3 in the race. Ducati 1, 2, 3s across the board.
I know.
An incredible result for Ducati, but what the fuck?
I know. It's just, I don't know really how to put it into words. It's just all of a sudden we're living in a Ducati-dominated world.
Yeah.
And they could win anywhere.
Yes.
And dominate anywhere.
Very
and look
much
good
so.
anywhere. And all of a sudden everyone else has got a lot to do.
Yeah.
A real lot to do. Potential for 2 more bikes on the grid next year. I don't know what everyone else. Yamaha have got to find speed.
Yeah.
Suzuki have got to get that thing under control. KTM have got to pull it out of the bag. Everyone else is Honda. My God, what the hell have they got to do?
Yeah, quite.
There's work to be done. Otherwise, Ducati have nailed it next year.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, I think Ducati probably, without looking at testing, without looking at the 22 machines, but going on current form, Ducati are favourites for next year.
Oh, absolutely.
That may well change. We know Suzuki are bringing that brand new engine. We know Honda are bringing a brand new bike. We expect Yamaha will do something. KTM, I'm sure, will do something. And Aprilia will be stepping up as well. So there are going to be changes across the board for everyone. But yeah,
is
right
it
now.
Enough?
Yeah, well, exactly. Because that Ducati just looks incredible, man.
It is good everywhere. It's just a worry. Not a worry.
Well, a worry for everyone who's not wearing red or signed by an Italian manufacturer.
Yes, this is true. It's an incredible sort of change of fortune. Their game plan, longevity game plan, has been nuts.
Oh, crazy, man.
They knew what they were doing, stuck to a 5-year plan.
No, it's not even that. Think about it. From when, say, Casey Stoner left in 2010, it was already going to shit when Casey Stoner left.
Yep.
But, really hit its worst with the Valentino Rossi era in 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
They were fucking nowhere, man. And they go from nowhere to winning this year, now winning the team and manufacturer championships, and coming second in the Riders' Championship. They've been second in the Rider Championship for, well, not last year, but for the 3 years before that.
Yeah, 3 years before it.
Like, they're really, the last step here really is for Ducati to just take the title. And
that's all they need. That's the only piece of the puzzle that's missing.
And it has to happen soon, man. You can't, it's not like we're watching it being like, oh, it's never going to happen. It's like, when is it going to happen?
Yeah, it is just a case of when. And I've got a nasty feeling that when they do, we're going to see the Ducati dominant era.
I wonder if we're going to see a string of Ducati championships.
I think we will. I think that's the only piece of the pie that they've not nailed, but is really going to be sliced out this year.
Yeah.
This is going to be the start of something incredibly special for the guys in red. Not just the guys in red, just like you say, the Italian manufacturer.
Yeah.
I think, if you bet against Pecco, you're crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what Pecco's odds are going to be after testing next year. I'm sure he's going to be one of the favourites.
Yeah, absolutely. If you roll into a bookies, the numbers are going to be not in your favour.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all we could do is just hope that testing will be the first little sort of snippet. Qatar is just going to be insane.
Yeah.
The eyes are just going to be all over, not Ducati, just everyone else and what they've done. Time will tell.
Time will tell, my friend. Time will tell. But into our race review then, Steve. And we start with the first of the 6 manufacturers here, and it's Honda.
Honda at the bottom.
Honda at the bottom. And it's a weird order to start this in, but we're going to go with our traditional order. We'll go satellite, factory.
Yep.
So, it's a pretty quick and easy one here. Taka Nakagami qualified 9th, did not finish the race.
No.
Was riding around just behind Valentino Rossi until lap 5 when he crashed out. And that's the end of his season.
That's not how you want to end a season.
That's sort of the story of his season, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. Unfortunate and woeful.
Yeah. And every time he looks quick, he crashes.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much that. It's something he's got to get on top of, or that ride can't be his long term.
No, not at all.
Then his teammate, Alex Marquez, qualified 19th, finished the race in 13th as the top Honda.
Not where Honda need to be.
Not where Honda needs to be. Not really where Marquez needs to be, especially after last week where he had that incredible performance.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Good for him, I suppose.
I mean, he can claim that he's got the top Honda badge, so that's nice. But aside from that, it's not a good day out for anyone, is it?
No, not really. He looked good last year, and we were really hoping for more this year. We know he had some fitment issues getting used to that bike, but still. And
the demotion thing, I'm sure, is playing on him mentally.
Might be a little bit. But even so, improvements have got to be made.
Yes, certainly.
So all we can do is just hope that when testing is over and he comes out next year, he's just had that little bit more time to settle in, get used to it all, and then can just build again.
Yeah. Can you see Alex Marquez moving to like a 3rd tier Ducati or something after this
I can. I think
Honda
everyone
thing?
will.
Yeah, at some point, everyone's going to be on Ducati.
The queue of guys holding their CV out the back of the Ducati garage would be long. You know, if let's say hypothetically speaking, we get to the end of testing and no one can touch the Ducatis, everyone is just going to look for the empty seat.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
all the pressure will be on the Ducati riders to justify them having that seat.
Yes.
You get a string of bad results, you're gone.
Yeah.
Because Ducati will just have the pick of whoever they want.
Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting time, isn't it, MotoGP full stop, because I can see someone like Alex Marquez is perfectly capable of moving to another manufacturer and doing well, I think. Maybe not winning a championship, maybe not winning races, but certainly performing very well. The problem is right now, and even with Ducati's 8 bikes coming onto the grid, there's not room for people to be swapping around at the moment.
There's not. Everyone's got to fill a seat.
Yeah, it's not like it was 5 years ago where you're like, well, we'll just drop Loris Baz and we'll throw you in. That's not a problem. Or we can get rid of Eugene Lavity and drop you in. That's not a problem. There ain't no spaces anymore.
No, there's nowhere to go. You've got to fill your seat and justify your ride quickly.
Yeah, I think the only time really now I can see people swapping manufacturers full stop is if they're at the very top of their game. But like the Quartararos can swap manufacturers, not a problem.
He can go where he likes.
I'm sure Brad Binder, Miguel Oliveira could do the same. Quartararo can do the same. Like the Bagnaias, like those guys will have to swap manufacturers. But you're not going to have someone like Alex Marquez who's not quite performing on a Honda. I don't think he's going to get given a chance in a satellite team for another manufacturer now because there's so much talent coming through.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I think for the satellite teams especially, we're going to see a lot more 1-year contracts, just purely to give the manufacturer the option of replacing you if you don't perform.
Yes.
And it's going to put so much pressure on these guys that we're going to see a lot more crashy people. They're just going to override these things to try and get the results.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. So then we're not going to see what these guys could truly do. They're going to end up on the machines that don't suit them, the machines they don't want to be on. And
the machines that aren't capable of winning races or getting onto the podium.
Yeah.
Although that said, what machine now isn't capable of getting onto the podium? Probably none of them, but probably a lot of them aren't capable of winning races.
No, they've all got their potential to get on the podium, but not all of them have got potential to win the race.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of handbags at dawn to try and get these rides.
Yeah.
Makes viewing for us incredible.
And it's going to make silly season next year pretty good.
It's going to be nuts.
But I can't see anyone going anywhere, which is the annoying thing.
No, I think the rumour mill will be insane.
We're going to spend months just talking about rumours and then nothing's going to change. The rider lineup's going to be exactly the same.
It will probably be, I've got no options, I'm staying where I am.
Yeah, exactly.
And that will be bet the devil you know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait. We will wait for a Quartararo signature, for a Bagnaia signature.
Yeah. Miller, maybe Martin.
Well, Martin certainly. Miller, I think, is fighting against Martin for that seat.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's going to be a couple of big names. Once those signatures are landed, everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
If one of them does a shock thing like a Lorenzo moving from Yamaha to Ducati, then all of a sudden we get a great silly season because then, boom, it's blown wide open because people are chopping and changing all over the place.
That one unexpected move is just going to throw it all in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, let's hope someone does it.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, we can only hope.
On to the Repsol Hondas then, Steve, the full factory team. Let's start with Marc Marquez. We know he's out due to the double vision thing.
Yep.
Won't be at the Jerez test either, and this was obviously due to his concussion during a routine off-road motorcycle training. So he was not there, did not start the race, and there was no one to step in for him. No. Stefan Bradl was not there. Pol Espargaro started fine on Friday. Was doing okay on Saturday morning, then had a big crash.
That was a big crash as well.
And was taken to hospital, checked over, thought he could probably start from the back of the grid on Sunday, but then was told, nah, mate, you are not going anywhere, you're staying in here. Which meant not a single Repsol Honda started the race, Steve.
Not good.
So it's the first time since 1995 that a Repsol Honda hasn't started a race.
Yeah.
And the first time since 1992 that no full factory Honda has lined up on the grid.
That's nuts.
Madness, so it's been nearly 20 years.
Do we think they just left?
No, that's 30 years.
That's 30 years. Jesus.
I was obviously looking a bit optimistically there at myself, being like, just 21.
Yeah. 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. They're good. Just, you need your bikes on the grid. You know, obviously, accidents happen. Pole's accident he's lucky.
It was a big crash, man. It was a scary one.
I saw the replay. It's like, holy shit, he's hurt.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a little quote from him that said, "Every time I breathe, it hurts."
Yeah.
You ain't riding. You're sitting the shit out.
Well, quite.
But yeah, you need your bike from a manufacturer's and team's point of view. you've got to have these guys on the bikes, on the grid.
Well, from a sponsor point of view, man.
Yeah.
Your sponsors ain't happy if you're not running their logos and stuff. They're paying a lot of money for your bikes to go around that grid.
Yeah, exactly. Tough times at Honda, and they're just getting more and more woeful.
Yes.
It's just going to...
And this has a huge knock-on effect now. We don't know whether Pole's going to be at Jerez. We know Marc Marquez isn't going to be at this Jerez test. They may have just lost 4 days of testing over their 2 riders.
Yeah, I mean, we know Bradl's going to be testing.
Bradl, we know, will be there.
But is he just testing some parts? But he's...
And even if he is, he's still not riding to a Marc Marquez level.
No, exactly. He's not your mainstay rider. You need these guys testing, and we know it's a new bike, roughly.
Yeah. But we do. It's a complete overhaul of their machine, and they really need Pol Espargaro and Marc Marquez there to be putting in the laps, and they need them to be doing hundreds of laps over each test.
They just got to be lapping all the time, hundreds, 150 laps each day. Go out and test it. Get used to it. Dial your settings in, because they have to tone this thing to these guys.
And we've got to remember as well is we've got what? Sorry, that's a beer burp going on there. We've got 7 days of testing for full-time riders. We've got 10 days of testing for rookies, I believe.
Yeah.
But 3 of those days of testing are all at Mandalika as well. This is a brand new circuit.
Never been.
So not only have they got to now dial a bike in, they've got to dial a bike in at a circuit they've never been to. They've got no data for at all.
No.
This is a very truncated testing season, and they can't afford to lose 2 of their 7 days, man, straight away.
No, not at all. It's not looking good for Honda, straight off the bat.
Marc Marquez and Pol Espargaro have dug Honda a big, big hole for next season.
All we can hope is that Pol somehow manages to do a few laps at the test, does something.
Yeah.
Just gets on there, even if he just gets on it and goes, right, I don't like this little bit, I don't like that little bit. This is what we're going to work on at the next test. And just pray he can get something out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just hope that Marquez actually is fit enough to come back for the next test.
Jeez. It's getting scary stuff with Marquez, isn't it? And for Honda, full stop, man.
It is. Honda have found themselves in a doldrum, which they need to rescue themselves from.
A doldrum that's cost them $20 million a year just for Marquez.
Last year, the money that those guys are losing is just astronomical.
Yeah.
So the hole, like you say, is just getting deeper and deeper. So good luck.
Yeah, quite. Good luck.
We won't be putting a CV in.
Yeah, maybe not for Honda. Anyone else on there?
I probably would, and I'd probably just sit at the back going, fucking hell.
They'd be like, Jesus, this is not what I was expecting. I'd be like, I better get a first class flight over to Japan or something to make this all worth it.
Yeah. Tea? Anyone? Make a mean tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Breakfast. We'll do a breakfast.
I love the idea of you just being there, Steve, and all of these like factories having really good coffee machines and stuff, and you're just like, nah, mate, just build us tea all round. NATO standard. Milk and 2 sugars.
NATO standard. Yorkshire, mate. Yorkshire tea. Bring that in there. They're like, what is this? Like, sit down.
You're like, you haven't lived till you've tried this.
Yes, you are having my milky white. Yeah.
Ooh, moving on. Right, KTM, Steve. Honda's main rivals here. Again, standard order here. Satellites first. So the Tech 3 squad. Iker Lecuona qualified 15th, finished the race in 15th. Wasn't an exciting final MotoGP race.
Just
but
brought it home.
Scored a point.
Yeah, did what he needed to do before he leaves.
Yeah.
Heading off to World Superbikes. We wish him well. Good luck. Shame to see him go, actually. He's had some good results this year. Started to really look good. I'm actually quite gutted he's going.
Yeah, I am. And I think I explicitly said on many occasions I didn't think Iker Lecuona was a MotoGP rider. I thought he was a very, very good motorcycle racer. I didn't think he was a MotoGP rider. I actually think I was quite wrong about that.
Yeah, I think we both were.
Iker Lecuona is a perfectly capable MotoGP rider, but he's a MotoGP rider that was brought in 2 years too early.
Yeah. A little bit more time in Moto2.
Yeah.
And he would have been absolutely fine.
And I think the guy had only done it was 35 races in Moto2 or something before stepping up, and that was his first, I believe, his first short circuit racing experience.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Because I think he was all off road before he joined Moto2.
Yeah, I think you're right. Which is nuts. The guy just started to come good.
Yeah, and
now we lost him.
And I mean, hopefully, I have no faith in Honda pulling their finger out in World Superbikes, but hopefully they can, and hopefully he can perform over there along with Xavi Vierge.
Yeah, fingers crossed for him. I hope it all goes well. And you never know. If it does, one day we might see him back.
Yeah.
So good luck, and we will keep an eye on you.
Yeah, exactly. Another man we're going to keep an eye on, Steve, here. He will obviously be getting his own show in the off-season, and I think maybe more than one, because I think we're going to do a Dakar Rally show at some point too.
Hell
during
yes,
the
I think we're going to have to do a Dakar rally.
But obviously it's Danilo Petrucci. He qualified 16th, finished the race in 18th. Not the send-off he would have wanted, but it really didn't matter what happened in Petrucci's race. Unless he'd gone and won it or done something stupid like putting it on the podium, the end of his MotoGP career was always going to be overshadowed by the end of Valentino Rossi's MotoGP career.
Yeah, he got a nice little bit of telly time while they were lining up the grid. We had his hat on, his little tie.
Really nice. And crying then. Apparently he said he was crying during the race. He was crying after the race. Just a very emotional man. It made me want to give the guy a big hug.
Yeah, I really wanted to give him a smashing big hug.
Yeah.
A good cup of tea. Sort him out. Biscuit. Rich tea biscuit.
That'll do the job. Cup of tea solves everything, mate.
It does solve everything. Sit down, chocky biscuit, dunk it, cup of tea.
I remember being in one of the most, and this really was one of the most traumatic situations that I've ever witnessed in my life. A friend of mine's child went missing, older child, but still child, 18, went missing. We'd all been out searching. It didn't end very well. Police found their body, bloody, bloody, blah. The only thing I could do when I was in this house at the time was, once we got the news and I'd gone back and we'd done the round of hugs and stuff and everyone was sitting in silence, and I had that awkward British moment where you're like, fuck, what do I do? Well, I know where the tea bags are. Maybe I'll just make tea for everyone.
It's a very weird British thing, isn't it?
So I just made tea for everyone, and everyone's very appreciative of the tea. Everyone's like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm like, biscuits, anyone?
It's a weird British thing.
Very strange British thing that even in the most traumatic of times, the thing that
We
will fix
make
it
tea.
is a fucking cup of tea. Like, what the fuck are we all thinking?
I know. Yeah, exactly that. I've been in so many situations where you don't know what to do. It's stone silence, and you just hear the kettle go on.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone's like, yeah, tea.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the problems just dissolve. And, you know, I don't want to play down any situations here, but it is a weird British thing that we do.
It's a very strange thing, and especially if it's a sugary tea, I can see why it helps, because it gets rid of the shock and stuff, gives you the little kick. The caffeine helps. Yeah. And I think sometimes if you're in quite a horrible situation, whether it's as traumatic as the one that I just described and I was involved in, or whether it's just a big argument, it's a big family fight, whatever it is, just having a couple of minutes to click on the kettle, make some teas, give everyone a few minutes to cool down. Everyone likes a cup of tea. Just have a chill, have a drink. Everyone's in a better headspace. You can really solve a problem after a cuppa that you couldn't solve before.
Yeah, and if it's not received well, the situation is bad.
Well, quite. If you make someone a cup of tea and they don't want it, fucking they're the problem, mate. They can get out. Doesn't matter what you've done up until that point, they can get the fuck out.
Yeah, you've just murdered the cat. You've put the kettle on, and that cup of tea comes flying back at you.
You're like, that was
shit's about to get real.
That was a Yorkshire tea bag. That weren't no Sainsbury's Red Label shit. That was a good one.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
If you've got to dodge that cup of tea,
right.
Boxing gloves are out.
Exactly. Anyway, back to Petrucci here. It turns out he actually nearly missed the race, which is my favourite story from the weekend.
Really?
Yeah, so apparently they did the lap round to the grid, and he was like, I really need to go to the toilet. A lot of the riders have their pre-race rituals. They'll go off to the toilet, have a piss, have a shit, whatever they need to do. I'd probably be pro getting that last bit of weight out, go for the dump, get everything out.
Oh, yeah, I'd be in there straining myself.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently he did that on his way back through the pit box. There were so many people around just wanting to be like, oh, good luck for your last race. Congratulations. That he heard the siren going. It was like, fuck, that's the 3-minute warning. I need to go. And apparently he was within seconds of just missing the race because he wasn't on his bike.
Just see someone come legging it down the pit lane. I'm coming.
He's just too popular of a man. He was like, there's just so many people that want to wish me well.
He's loved by everyone. He's another character that is to be hugely
properly adored, isn't he?
Yeah.
Properly adored.
Such a shame. I mean, all right. He's moved to KTM. Results haven't been great.
No, it's not been a great year. Yeah. But then KTM haven't had a great year, full stop.
Exactly. But again, we wish him well. We're going to watch the Dakar, like you say. We'll do a Dakar show. Let everyone know how he's getting on. Watch it if you can. Catch it in wherever you can.
I don't actually know where you watched Dakar. The only time I've ever watched it properly was that year I was in Peru. Yeah. It was in Peru. I remember you texting me or sent me a message, which I didn't get for 3 or 4 days because I didn't have signal over there, and I hooked up to Wi-Fi. I had a message from you, Tim, mate, Dakar's in Lima. I was like, fuck, I'm in Lima. where? And I ended up Googling it. I was like, shit, it's tomorrow, the launch party. Right, I'm away. So I ended up down there watching it. And that's the only time I've ever watched any of it properly. But yeah,
I remember that. Because I remember like not speaking to you for about a week because, like you say, your signal was rubbish out there.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a SIM card or anything, so I was just when I hooked up to Wi-Fi. But I think at the time I was staying in the jungle for like a week with some guy that I met on the internet, and like ended up just like living in his jungle shack in the middle of nowhere, which was great.
Wildlife, Tarzan over here. Yeah. I remember just receiving like a barrage of like picture messages, and it was just all the cars and bikes. I was like, well, he got the message there.
Yeah, I did make it.
He's alive.
Yeah. But yeah, that was great, and we will certainly be following it this year and seeing how he does. Without a doubt.
I'll try and find out where people can watch it if it's televised anywhere.
I think it's always televised. I think have a feeling it's like televised on like Motors TV or something.
Probably, just haven't paid any attention before.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. If I find anything out, I'll post it online. Let everyone know where you can catch it.
I'm sure there's some great documentaries and stuff.
Oh, there will be.
Which you can find.
Without doubt.
And maybe we'll end up getting into those. I feel like we've got a long off-season ahead of us, Steve. So we're going to end up doing some, I imagine, more film reviews and stuff like we've done in the past.
Probably. I'll be watching Wild Hogs again.
Okay, on to the factory boys then, Steve. Miguel Oliveira qualified 20th, finished the race in 14th. It's been a fucking tough year.
It has, mate. Yeah. I don't really know what to say. It just feels like every race has been a race of attrition for him.
Yeah, it's just not. The performances were there in the middle of the season. He had those 4 races where he was untouchable, and then he had that injury in Austria, and it was just all downhill from there, man. Yeah. It's been a rough season since then.
It has. I think he's probably just one of the riders that is really glad the season's over.
Yeah.
Time to recover. Probably had, like we just seen, just had a kid. Probably had a lot going on in the background.
Yeah, certainly.
And it is now probably really thankful the season's over. Just time to reset, get healed up, get settled down, because it is a big upheaval having a kid.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to feed it all the time. You're up through the night. Little buggers won't feed it.
Yeah, you do. That is a very important thing with having kids as well. You do have to feed them a lot.
They do. Every half an hour, it's like, feed. Yeah. Reset, rest, enjoy your new family.
Yeah.
Love it, experience it, come back with a massive beaming smile, because the dude's got a cracking smile.
Well, you'd expect that. He's a dentist.
He is a dentist.
So you'd be fuming if he had a bad smile, to be fair.
You would, to be fair. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just come back next year. Hopefully KTM have pulled something out of the bag with that bike and just...
Yeah, exactly. KTM needs to do something. I'm aware KTM won 2 races this year, but this wasn't the year we expected after last year.
They just to win 2 races, you know, it's a long season.
It is. I think it shows, doesn't it? Obviously, they won the 3 races last year, and then they lost concessions. And I think this year's been a big learning curve on how to do a MotoGP season without concessions. And hopefully they've learned their lesson and they can then move forward from now, but we will have to wait and see.
Yes, yeah. Again, only time will tell. So next season, we'll be keeping a big eye.
Yeah, certainly. The last of the KTM riders then, Steve, is one Brad Binder. He qualified 7th, finished in 7th. Had to get through Q1 to do so. Did he qualify 7th? Yeah, he must have done. Yeah, I don't really know why I wrote my notes the way I did then. A good performance again, and kind of just held firm, really.
Yeah, he was like the saviour of KTM, really.
Yeah, as he has been on many occasions this year. Yeah, that's fine. My notes have confused me there because I have written the words, he needs to learn to qualify, or KTM needs to learn to qualify. But if he qualified 7th, that's sort of irrelevant, so I don't really know why I wrote that. But I wrote that in the pub earlier, so we'll
blame
ignore
the
that.
pub.
Yep, that's fine. That's just me being a twat. Moving it on to Aprilia then, Steve. Aprilia kind of set the standards high at the start of this year and haven't really met up to them since that Aleix Espargaro podium, really.
Yeah, it's just been a weird one.
Yes.
I don't really, with the changing of Maverick and Savadori, just feel like they got a bit lost.
Yeah, but it's more than that, isn't it? Because Aleix Espargaro's performances have certainly dropped off. But we'll talk about Vinales first here.
Yeah.
Vinales qualified 14th, finished the race in 16th, and I really don't have a lot to say about it. Next year is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I just want to see a full year after testing. Because it's a weird thing to do to suddenly switch manufacturers in the middle of a year.
Yeah, exactly. After testing, he's got the miles in now, and we know it's a new bike coming next year.
Yeah, so I think all in all, to just hop on that thing, do it, and not have dreadful results, but have some average results, should we say. straight off the bat, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But let's give him some more testing time. We know they've used basically the rest of what was left of this year as testing. So give him the rest of the actual official test, get the new bike under him, and then we'll assess. Let's give it this time.
I'm also
next year.
not going to trust anything we see in testing, any lap times, because we know how good Maverick is at testing.
No, he is the testing phenom.
Exactly. Testing World Champion of the Year, Maverick Vinales, every year.
Come out and get you a little bit of paper.
Oh, he could get a nice A4 certificate as well, Steve.
He could.
That'd be nice.
Fridge.
That'd be a treat, yeah. Mama Vinales can just put that one up.
Yep. Sticky tape that one up.
His teammate then, Aleix Espargaro, qualified 12th, finished the race in 19th. Should have qualified higher, but kind of got screwed over by phantom yellow flags in qualifying.
Yeah, just a random situation where...
Yeah, it's a weird one. So he's coming down the straight, boards light up, the electronic boards we see on the side of the track light up with yellow. So he was like, fuck, there's a yellow flag, I better slow down. So he rolls off, he slows down, he comes around the next corners, he's like, well, there's no one down on the track, what's happening here? And then all the yellows disappear. He's like, right, this is weird. Questions it afterwards, and race direction just say, yeah, we're really sorry, that was a glitch.
Yeah, that's it.
So there was no actual yellow flag flown. So, yeah, how bad. And that was just after that. So obviously he's fucking fuming.
Oh, I would be raging, mate.
But then I don't know what the solution is to that problem. Is this just a really sorry, like shit happens?
Just basically a racing incident.
Yeah, that's the kind of how I feel about it. Yeah. It really is a shit happens. I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. We're not going to reset the entire session for you. Like,
what is the other alternative? Just give him
one more lap. Just let him have a weird Super Bowl lap by himself. That's not going to work out.
Show us what you can do.
Yeah, you have to reset the entire session, and you ain't reset the session.
You can't just send him out on his own for one. It's either all or nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I can imagine someone going in the garage going, yeah, shit happens.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's the case, and that's the attitude you've got to take, because sadly, shit really does just happen.
Yeah. Someone pressed the wrong button?
Yeah.
It wasn't flicking the kettle on.
But maybe should have been, though.
Yes. And suddenly, why isn't the kettle working? Loads of yellow flags flashing around.
Hanging about with his PG tips, like, for fuck's sake.
Come on, mate. Want my broom. And then all of a sudden, everyone's getting fucked out.
Yeah, quite.
Screwed over on track.
But he reckons he could probably have got at least to the second row if it hadn't been for this. Instead, qualified 12th. And finished the race in 9th, so made up a few spots, but nothing spectacular. Not what we saw of him in the early part of the season.
No, slightly lower, but still not bad.
No, not bad at all. And I think maybe if you'd said to Aleix 2 years ago, look, at the end of 2021, you're going to qualify 12th and finish the race in 9th, he'd have bitten your hand off.
Exactly, yeah. There's no way he'd just like 9th all day, every race.
Yeah, exactly.
Just would have took it.
Suzuki then, Steve. They are our next factory here. Alex Rins, qualified 6th, did not finish the race. He had to get through Q1 to qualify in 6th, and then had a cracking start to the race.
He really did. Just looked fast, looked good, was closing on everyone, racy.
Yeah.
Looked like the Rins we know he could be, but then did a classic Rins.
Yeah.
And chucked it in the gravel trap.
That's the thing, isn't it? As is so often the way, he crashed out while pushing to stay with the leaders. And this does seem to be the way for him, Steve. If he's faster than Mir,
he crashes.
He seems to crash, exactly. Mir is really capable of riding that bike right on the limit. And while I still believe Rins is maybe the faster of the two,
he probably is.
He's unable to manage difficulties in the way that Johan Mir can. And in a way that Valentino Rossi was famous for him to do, ride around problems. Mir can ride around those problems. Give Rins the perfect bike and he'll be unstoppable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But if there's a single problem with that bike, he's unable to ride around it. And this is what we're getting here. We're getting these DNFs. What is this, his 6th, 7th DNF of the year?
6, one of the two, 6th or 7th. But it's just his Achilles heel. If he's quick, he's crashy. Like you say, he does not seem to have the ability to read a problem and react to it. It is either do or die.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure a lot of it is because of the bad results. If he gets near this front,
and it's pressure to beat Mir.
Yeah. And he's just like, all of a sudden, hang on, I can go this little bit quicker. I can get this one more position, shit him in the gravel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that little bit of pressure, self-pressure to get a good result, and it's down.
And it always feels like it's in like the podium positions, doesn't it? It always feels like he's throwing away at least 16 points every time he does it. And that's like 6 or 7 times across the year.
I know, and those points add up.
Huge amounts of points he's throwing away. He's probably thrown away over 100 points this year.
Oh, easy. Absolutely. I completely agree. Team must be absolutely fuming. And like we said with Taka, that's not how you want to end the season. You want to go out at least finishing the race, a little bit of a high. I mean, he's got to do the bloody walk of shame, back in the garage. Sorry, lads, you got to fix it again. You know, let's go have a pint. Put the kettle on.
Yeah, exactly. At least this week they haven't got to fix it.
No, they can just bin it.
Exactly. They've not even got a satellite team they've got to send it to next year. It's just done now.
Exactly. I'm sure they're just like, where's the nearest skip? There it is. Wheeled it in.
Yeah.
Straight in.
Can you imagine if they did just left an entire GSX-RR prototype just in the skip at Valencia as they were leaving? We don't want that shit anymore. We'll just leave
We've
it
had
there.
enough of that one. Bin it off.
Yeah.
Imagine every marshal being there. Get the ratchets.
Yeah, quite.
I'm having a souvenir.
You know, I saw it first, shotgun.
Yeah, mine. Just someone's going along with it. The skip man must be like, well, happy days. I am retiring today.
Exactly. There's just £1 million sitting in there ready to go.
Yeah, that's not happening. They're in the gravel trap, picking up all the little pieces. That
Every
thing's
time,
being
mate.
flown back to wherever the
It'll be back to
headquarters is.
Japan,
Yeah.
and then maybe I assume if it's a trashed one, anyway, they'll just crush it, much like we know Honda do.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
Johan Mir, then his teammate Steve, he qualified fourth and finished the race in fourth. This was a very classic Mir race, taking it to its absolute limit, but really not overstepping it at all.
Yeah, this does feel like classic Mir.
And he was fighting for the lead for a little while,
He
and
was.
certainly fighting for the podium spots for most of the race.
Yeah, he was holding those guys really humble. So it just feels like what he's done last year to win his title again.
Yeah, exactly.
But just too late.
And it really was just the Ducati domination that stopped him
that's
this year.
just stopped everyone this year. So, I don't know. A nice benchmark to end the year on. Nice high for him. All we can hope is get some good testing in and just pick it up right from here.
Yeah, and we just hope that GSX-RR that we're going to see for the 2022 model is just going to be as powerful as everyone says it will be.
That's what we hope. If they can get that top speed sorted, keep the look. I hope they don't change the look too much, so I like the look of that bike.
I think it's got worse every year.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I do. I think when Suzuki first appeared on the MotoGP grid, that was their best looking machine. And I remember there was a year you and I were at British Superbikes and they had the Suzukis there in the same livery and then they had a red one there in the same livery, but just red instead of blue.
Yeah.
That was a stunning machine.
Yeah,
man.
I remember that really well. That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it was a really like candy red.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bright like Diablo red, like a Ferrari red. It was that kind of burnt.
Yeah, it was
looked
nice.
stunning with the silver. It was like, ooh.
Yeah, and that looked really good. So I kind of hope they go back to just the bigger Suzuki written down the side. Because I think a lot of the problem is they've just got more sponsors over time.
That's it.
And the more sponsors you get, the worse the bike
busy.
looks. Exactly. This is why the Grazie Vale bikes look so good.
All the red Aprilia.
The red Aprilia for the same reason.
Yeah.
Looks so good because there's
simple.
just no sponsorship on it.
Yeah, just that little tiny bit on the bottom of the belly pan.
Uh-huh.
Just to say, look, you are there. You're just very small.
And it's funny when you go back, and obviously at the moment we're seeing loads of old clips of Valentino and stuff. Like when he first joined the Yamaha, there's no sponsorship on it at all. They've just got Go written along the side
That
and
was it.
stuff.
Blue would Go. The Gulwars Go.
Yeah, exactly.
Gone.
They just had there
Gone.
was just hardly any sponsorship on it, and it looks so good. And
Yeah.
I fully understand that sponsors on a motorcycle are a very important part of any motorsport. Full stop. Sponsors are a very important part. I'm fully aware of that, and I'm fully on board with them being there. But if you can get away with it, it does look better with less.
Yeah, they really do. I'm completely on board with that. Minimalistic look.
Yeah.
Just whatever your colour scheme is. Just the name of the bike, Go. Perfect.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I'd have all bikes. Just very simple if it was
Yeah.
down to me. But saying that, the Aprilia looks great. And that's a little bit busy.
That's fair. Actually, I saw one this morning, this evening in town, actually. Not obviously not
I was
an
gonna say.
RSGP, but it was a full RSGP liveried Aprilia RSV4.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was the
Nice.
RSV4. But in the full Sky Q livery, it looked amazing. And I
bet.
nearly just like stepped into the road looking at it as it came past me. I was like, what is that? And he tripped down the curb. There's my dad there, just grabbed me. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I'm just looking at that.
Like a moth to the flame.
Oh, I'm terrible for it, mate. Cherie,
Yeah, I do
it's
the same
funny.
thing.
When I first started dating Cherie, one of the things she said to me, she was just like, I've had boyfriends in the past that when they're doing that thing where they, much like the meme, where they're like looking over their shoulder, she's like, I always just knew they were checking out other girls. And while that's okay, it sort of is a bit annoying that they're so obvious. She's like, and when I first started dating you, I thought you were doing it a lot. And then I realised you're only ever doing it when there's motorbikes around. I was like, honestly, Cherie, it's like, I really love you to bits, but like that motorbike is stunning, isn't it? Like, look at that. Wouldn't you want to ride that? Look at it.
I do the same.
Yeah, exactly. See, and I'm sure actually probably most of the people listening to this do the same.
I'm sure there's men, women, everyone out there.
Full stop, yeah.
Got their little weird, like, kink perversion towards motorbikes and cars. You hear one, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Then it comes blazing past you, like, oh, following that.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a kink. I do have kinks that I won't get into here.
Let's not go down that
but
road.
I wouldn't say my love for motorcycles is a kink. I have no sexual gratification from motorcycles except when they're vibrating nicely. But
Moving on.
okay, Yamaha it is then. So, Yamaha, Steve, we will start with Andrea Dovizioso. Qualified 13th, finished the race in 12th. I didn't go back through the results, but is this his best finish on the Yamaha yet?
I believe so.
Obviously this year, not in his career.
I believe so, which encouraging.
Yeah, certainly. He's getting closer.
Yeah, it is starting to look very encouraging.
On what is a machine that Morbidelli struggled with at the start of the year when he was quote-unquote fully fit.
Yeah.
That we saw Jake Dixon struggle on, we saw Garrett Gerloff struggle on. So the fact he's getting there now probably bodes well into the preseason test and then next year.
Yep. Well, we know he's going to be on better machinery, so...
We'll be on a current year machine next year.
Good end of the season. Nice stepping stone to go into testing.
Yes.
And set yourself up very nicely for next year.
Definitely.
Cracking race for him.
Yeah, really, really good one. His teammate then in Valentino Rossi, we won't dwell too much here. We've spoken a lot about him, and like we say, we're going to have hours of talking about Valentino coming up in the off-season. But he qualified 10th and finished in 10th for what was probably his best race of the year.
I think so. Looked good. Looked fast. Looked old Rossi.
Yeah.
Just down in 10th. Like I said, we won't dwell on him too much. We're going to do big shows on him. So.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing there is, I think, considering all four Yamahas finished, the fact he was the second of all four is, there's good for him. The fact that he went out and he went, do you know what? I've had my last race, and he did say this, or I'm paraphrasing a bit here and making shit up, but this is pretty much what he said. He said, look, I've just finished my last race, and I finished as one of the top 10 fastest riders in the world. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
So,
what more do you want?
Exactly. You can't ask more from the 42-year-old than that.
No.
The factory boys then, Steve, Frankie Morbidelli here, qualified 11th, finished 11th. He was pretty much glued to the back of Rossi for the latter stages of the race, and he said that Rossi was impossible to overtake.
No.
I'm sort of on that point. I'm like, maybe I would believe. Part of me says that maybe that's true because Morbidelli's very injured and maybe he can't put the same force into an overtake he would have done otherwise. The other part of me is just like, he was just giving his mentor a nice top 10 finish at the end there.
I find it hard to believe he couldn't get past him. Mm-hmm. If he wanted to, on arguably a better machine, I find it nearly... Yeah, he could have got past him. I'm sure
that's how I feel about it too.
It's one of those. I'm trying to think of a good way of putting it. I just think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, you just wanted to give him that top 10.
He was just being a bro. And do you know what?
Respect to it.
I'm all about that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It wasn't for the win. It wasn't for anything.
No.
It was just for a top 10. And a top 10 really, at the end of the day, makes absolutely no difference to either of their careers. No. But it's just a nice send-off for Rossi. And Morbidelli, whether he did it or not, will never, ever admit it. Because I'm sure if he admitted it to Rossi, I didn't come past you, Rossi would just be like, why the fuck not?
Yeah. So like, we're in a race.
Yeah,
race
exactly. Me. Well, I'm quite sure in those last few laps, he just went, nah, I ain't doing this.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever admit that.
Here.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's stay here. You have that top 10.
Yeah, quite.
Absolutely. I completely agree. He could have gone around him at any point.
And the last of the Yamahas then, Steve, was Fabio Quartararo. He qualified in 8th and finished the race in 5th. It's not been a great end to the championship for Quartararo, but he's already done everything he needed to do.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't matter,
it kind of feels a little bit like, oh, well, I've won it now. I'm just going to relax.
Yeah, it does. And I'm sure that's not the case because he doesn't want to give Pecco this momentum that he's built up coming into next year.
Exactly.
But it does sort of feel like he just went, and relax.
Yeah. Just it's like when you've had a big meal, you just undo the belt.
Yeah, exactly.
And just go, oh.
You sit down, you let your stomach expand those 3 inches that you're always trying to hold in at work. But that's gone now, and he's just chilling.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about it. Yeah, all right, we've got the tracks that maybe the Yamaha doesn't necessarily go that well round.
Which is weird, isn't it? Because Valencia is somewhere you'd go, that is stereotypically and traditionally a Yamaha track. I'd have said the same thing for Portimao. And I mean, he did win at Portimao, to be fair, the first time out.
Yeah.
Did he win the second one at Portimao?
No.
Did Pecco win that?
Yeah. Sure it is. Can't remember off the top of my head now.
I think Pecco did win, didn't he?
We'll go with Pecco.
And Quartararo crashed it, didn't he? Didn't he crash out? Or did he do that?
I've completely lost the last few rounds. My head is fried after this weekend.
Yeah,
So
I
much
can't
has
remember at all.
happened.
Which is terribly embarrassing, but obviously I'm not going to edit this out, Steve, so let's just move on and pretend it didn't happen.
All right, Ducati.
Whoa, not that far. That is
Oh.
about this point. Yes, let's move on to Ducati. That's fine. I was like, nah, Steve, we've still got another Yamaha rider to talk about, but it turns out, no, you are right. We are moving on to Ducati. As we said earlier, their first ever 1-2-3 in a race. They've taken the team and the manufacturer championship now this year. And aside from the fact that Yamaha took the riders' title with Quartararo, Ducati have been amazing this year, man.
They have. How much do you think Ducati big bosses are raging that they got everything except the championship?
I don't think they care too much now, but if you get to halfway through next season and they look like they're in the same position again because their riders have dug them a hole they can't get out of, then they're going to be fuming. It's the first year with these riders. Let's not forget Miller and Pecco both joined this year, so they probably weren't hoping for the title. Well, hoping certainly, but they probably weren't expecting the title this year. I think they're expecting the title next year.
I think you've got to be. I think all pressure has got to be just for the title next year.
Yeah.
That is the only thing left to do now. Like we said earlier, that is the one thing they need.
Yeah.
It's been such a long time. That has got to be the goal.
Yes.
You've got so many riders on that grid that could really do well, help each other out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got some. We get halfway through the year and it looks like it's going to be a battle between Pecco and Jorge Martin. You've got 6 other riders out there to get you back.
Yeah.
You've got guys who could be in the top 10. 8 of them could be your guys.
Well, exactly. I mean, if it's Pecco and Martin, that's obviously not going to happen because they're all Ducatis. But if it's a Pecco Quartararo battle, for example, that's exactly the case. They can just get people in the way, and it could be, I'm sure if you look at it now, they're the favourites for the title next year, probably with Pecco. But we'll wait and see.
It would be a problem. It'd be, I don't know, Luca Marini.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if Luca Marini goes and takes a title next year?
Like,
what
is going
weird universe are we living in?
It wouldn't surprise me. The results we've seen and things that have been happening.
Yeah, nothing surprises me anymore, Steve.
we do our predictions, and even some of the commentators and more knowledgeable people than us do their predictions, and it's all wrong.
Always wrong, mate. It's always wrong.
Yeah.
So Luca Marini, then being the first of the Ducatis to talk about here, he qualified 17th and he finished the race in 17th. I don't really have anything to say. We didn't see anything of him.
Yeah,
just is what it is. I think
it is hard. We've seen him look good. We've seen him look bad, and this just feels like where he, unfortunately for him, he is slipping into like a natural position.
Yes,
on the grid. And this is what he's capable of.
But I think he'll get faster, and I do think he'll get faster over
faster.
time because we saw that his progression, didn't we? When we did this show about Marini last year, we kind of realised that he had a few years of shit before it really started to come together in the classes.
He seems to be a very slow boiler.
Certainly.
So I think give him 2 or 3 years and he will be fine. He's just got to progressively get better and keep Ducati on his side.
Yes.
And then he will be okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's all we can hope for, really.
So his teammate in Enea Bastianini, he qualified 18th and finished the race in 8th. A good ride from
really
him.
Good year.
It's been a really good year overall for Bastianini, like you say. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him on better machinery next year.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether he's on a 22 bike or a 2021 bike. His machine is going to be at least 2 years more up to date than the current one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've seen what Pecco and Miller have been able to do on and Martin actually have been able to do on the 2021 machine. So, if he gets the 2021 machine, it's really not the end of the world. Like, that's a solid,
a healthy upgrade to what he's got now.
Exactly.
So stick him on it, and we'll see what we can do. If you can do this, get these results on this bike. Happy days.
Yeah, exactly. We've sort of just got to hope that the Grassini team, who we know he'll be running for next year, gel well with Ducati.
I think they will.
I think they will.
I've got faith they know what they're doing. They've been around the paddock a long time.
Yes.
So they know how to organise and micromanage a team. They'll be fine.
Have Grassini ever run Ducatis before?
Don't think so. But I'm sure with the knowledge that they've got, even if they have or they haven't, I'm sure, it's going to be a different bike. They'll work it out.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's true. On to the Pramac boys then, Steve. We'll start with Johann Zarco here because I have very little to say about him. He qualified fifth. He finished in sixth. Just another consistent finish for what's been a very consistent season for Zarco across the board. But again, outshone by his teammate.
Yeah, doesn't have bad races, has very good races.
Yes.
And again, feels like a natural position for him. It's just unfortunate for him. His teammate has had better results.
In his rookie year.
Yeah, that's another massive talking point. The fact that he's been outshone by a rookie teammate.
Although he has finished above him in the championship, I believe.
He has, but then Martin had those races away, injured.
I think Martin certainly had more race wins. I don't know about podiums.
I don't know about podiums. No, I don't know where they stand those ones. But all in all, just again, much like Marini, feels like the kind of standard position where we're going to see Zarco.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Get halfway through next year, we could be saying exactly the same. All of a sudden, we could be saying something very different.
Or Zarco's won like 4 races, and we're like, shit, he really is going to be in the next one in red.
Yes, we will see.
So his teammate then, Jorge Martin. Jorge Martin qualified first, finished the race in second.
Yes.
Great result, especially when you start diving into what happened to him all weekend, Steve.
Yeah, we didn't hear about any of this till after the race.
No, they mentioned it briefly during the commentary, but that was about it. But he was very ill all weekend.
Yeah, apparently suffered badly.
Yeah, had nearly no sleep, couldn't hold down food, couldn't hold down water.
No.
And was still able to just get on the bike and finish this long race in second. I mean, when I'm ill like that, I can't walk down the fucking stairs, Steve. Like, it's amazing that he was able to even swing a leg over a motorbike.
When we see like what these guys are going through and we hear about stuff like this, and his energy levels must have been 0.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say, I don't know what day he started getting ill. Let's say he started getting ill Friday morning and couldn't hold down water from then. Dehydration or potential dehydration and lack of energy, low blood sugar by Sunday morning must have been incredible.
Be awful, mate. Can you imagine trying to do the most physical, athletic thing you can do while fucked because you haven't slept in 2 days, you haven't eaten or drunk anything in 2 days? Like, Jesus Christ.
Rolled off that bike straight into the garage. And let's face it, I know there's a lot going on after the race, but I don't recall seeing him. Saw a lot of the other riders milling around.
But we certainly would have seen him in Parc Ferme, and we did watch the interviews. I can't remember what he said, and he looked okay. But I think maybe at that point, adrenaline's buzzing, you're pumped, you're ready to go.
That would have crashed quick. So the soonest opportunity that I had, I'd have been in that garage, just dying.
Which is annoying because it's the biggest party ever in MotoGP.
Exactly. How gutted must he have been? Just like all of a sudden, the party of the century. Oh, pardon me. Excuse me, a little hiccup there. It's going to kick off, and you're not on your deathbed, but you are feeling like hell.
That's where I'm like, just pump me full of the amphetamines. I'm going to this party. We'll worry about the illness tomorrow.
Shoot me up.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll deal with this in the morning.
No, it was a really good race from him, though. He led
race.
more than half the race and looked very comfortable in doing so. And it was only when Pecco came past and had so much pace that he had to kind of relinquish the win there.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him, but still a cracking result.
Yeah, and this did solidify Rookie of the Year, so he's taken that championship, took that nice BMW, and Pramac actually took Independent Team of the Year as well, which, when you consider Zarco was Independent Rider of the Year and that Martin was Rookie of the Year, it kind of like makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, that is, a nice few accolades for the team.
Yeah.
They've got something out of it at least.
Yes, certainly.
It might have been slightly overshadowed by the full factory team, but at least you can hold your hands up and say, "Lord, we got this."
Yeah, exactly.
Good year for him.
And speaking of the factory team then, Steve, let's dive into these two then. Jack Miller qualified for third and finished the race in third. He looked very, very good at the start of the race and was comfortably running, inside that top 3, but did get beaten up for a couple of laps, dropped back to kind of 5th, 6th, I think it was.
Yeah, dropped down roughly to 6th, I think, and was maybe a second off the pace. Not off the pace, but off the lead.
Yeah. But then fought his way back through comfortably after he kind of regained his rhythm, and then had a very good recovery. Was the fastest of the top three at the end of the race and was comfortably closing in on Martin. But it just wasn't enough laps left. But he was taking good chunks of time out of both Bagnaia and Martin in front of him.
Big chunks. If there had been 4 or 5 laps left, it would have been a completely different story.
Yes.
Just unfortunate when your recovery does kick in, it's just too late.
Yeah, too little, too late.
Infuriating.
But it was close. But yeah, just a nice way to round off Miller's season, I think.
Absolutely. Nice podium to walk away with.
Exactly. And then we finish off here with Bagnaia. He qualified second, finished the race in third. Third. Didn't finish in third at all, Steve. He finished in first. I've just lost all of my words. He finished the race in first. It was quite interesting to see the battle between Bagnaia and Martin.
Yeah.
Because we've seen a lot of Pecco battling with people, but often battling with Suzukis and Yamahas and people that he can just be like, well, I'll just cruise through the corners and then I'll just do them on the straights. Can do that against Martin. So it's very interesting to watch the fact that he had to start taking new lines. He had to really plan his overtakes. He had to set them up 4 or 5 corners earlier and just take slightly wider lines, building.
And to think outside of the box on this one.
Exactly. And it was good to see him being able to do that, because it led me to just be more confident for him next year. And actually, for the early parts of the race, he's doing all that with Rins, really looking like he wanted to pass.
Winth?
Winth?
That one went wrong.
There's your Jonathan Wass impression for the day.
Jesus. It's not going down that road. I've forgotten where I was going. Take over.
Okay, so Rins was sitting up his exhaust pipe, looking ready to overtake. It was less than half a second away for much of this, for much of the early parts of the race until he crashed. Bagnaia was capable of both holding off Rins and trying to make moves on Martin. It was quite an impressive ride from him.
Yeah,
I think.
That was a cracking display.
Yeah, maybe one of his best so far.
I think so. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. A hell of a pace.
Yeah, exactly.
With a lot to think about. I wouldn't be able to do one thing.
Oh, not a chance.
Calculate all this other stuff as well.
Not a chance.
Yeah. All of a sudden you're presented with a completely different situation. Like you say, where you're racing someone on the same bike and you've got to suddenly go, well, hang on, this is different.
Yeah.
Let's sort this out in my head.
Exactly. And it's good for Bagnaia that he's managed to take wins in many scenarios now. He took the win dueling with Marquez. He took a win by going out front and just dominating. He took this win by having to fight for the lead while defending from someone behind. Like, he's had different wins this year. Each one has been different, and this really...
That's good.
Yeah, exactly. It looks good really for next year.
Oh, absolutely. Bet against him at your peril.
Exactly. So that pretty much brings us to the end of that roundup there, Steve. But we do have our predictions to recap. I realise I didn't put these in the show notes, but I've just copy and pasted them from last week, so they are in front of me. They're just not in front of you. Steve, you predicted a Bagnaia win. Good one. A Miller second, and a Polaspargaro third.
Well,
so unfortunate that you picked Polaspargaro there, but you did score the winner and one other podium goer.
I'll take that.
I picked Quartararo to win, Bagnaia second, and Mir third. So I got one podium goer and not in the right spot. So once again, you managed to smash me on the predictions.
Chalkboard.
Steve's like, brilliant, I'm taking that one. I may have lost in the fantasy league, but I've definitely beaten him in the predictions.
Extensively kicked my ass in the fantasy league.
It's okay, Steve. As it turned out, I kicked my own ass in the fantasy league in these last few weeks as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll get to that next week, I think, because we are running long on this one, Steve.
Yeah, I've just realised how long we've been recording.
Yeah. So the season's now over, man. Obviously, we haven't run through the top 10 in the championship now, but there's no rush to do that. We'll do that next week as well.
Yeah.
But the season is now over, so there's not another race. There's no preview. There's nothing until Qatar next year. But we do have the Jerez test, which starts on Thursday, the 18th of November. So that, as we are speaking, Steve, is around a day and a bit. If anyone's listening on day of release, it's a day or whatever. If you're listening later, you'll have to just go back and find the Jerez test and the info from that. And this, like we say, is part of only 7 days of testing until...
Not a lot of testing at all.
It's shocking, the amount, isn't it? And I'm very on board with it, Steve.
I like it.
Keeps costs down, which I'm very pro. It keeps travel time down, which I'm very pro. And it just means that no one knows what the fuck they're doing come next year. So there's so much up in the air.
Yeah, if we saw them having 2 weeks of testing, we know what we're going to get, pretty much.
And the teams know what they can do. Teams ain't got 7 days of testing isn't enough for those engineers to dial in the bike exactly as the rider wants it, which means there's a lot of learning to do at the start of next year.
Oh, absolutely. And it just makes for more of a spectacle for us.
Yeah.
When they're all going, shit, what's this button do? You know, we're sitting at home going,
what does this button do? It just pings off the seat.
Rockets? Yes.
It just nos.
Yeah, whoa, that'd be great. Maybe that's what's in the lunchbox.
Oh my God, maybe it's just a NOS canister slowly feeding into
That's why those things
cylinders.
are so rapid. That's not a ride height adjuster.
Oh, imagine.
Just a bottle of NOS.
It would be great, wouldn't it, if they had just sneaked NOS in there. Like, yeah, it's a mass damper. It's actually a NOS bottle, don't tell anyone.
Oh, dear.
But that pretty much brings us to the end, Steve. That's the end of the season. That's the end of this show. We will be back, I expect, every week through the off-season, except maybe Christmas. We might take a week off.
Yeah, we had a week off last year, didn't we? We'll treat ourselves to a little break.
Yeah, exactly. But aside from that, we'll come to you guys with our usual brand of just talking shit in the off-season, because sometimes in the off-season there's nothing else to do except talk shit.
No, make shit up.
Exactly. So we will be doing that all the way through. And, you know, it's Christmas coming up, so I'm just going to be drinking more and more now.
My God.
Oh, yes. It's my favourite time of year, Steve. I had my festive sandwich when I got here.
You did?
My cranberry and brie sandwich, which was wonderful. In fact, I had a baked camembert for breakfast this morning as well, so I'm all about the Christmas cheese today.
You are starting the festive season early, my friend.
Yes, mate.
I like it.
Jacob's Cracker Crisps of sour cream and chive, is it?
Yeah.
They are out now, so I've snaffled a few packs there. I'm already putting on my Christmas weight. This is the earliest I've ever started putting on Christmas weight. So.
Well, they're forecasting a cold winter, mate. You've got to get that extra layer in.
Got to prep for it, man.
Yeah, you can't just go out there bare.
But I will be going out there bare because of Manscaped, Steve.
You shall. Oh, I like it.
Thank you very much, guys. And if you want to go out there bare too for Christmas, or maybe you just want to give the significant other, or maybe just yourself, or even a family member or a friend, the gift of bare, smooth, clean testicles for Christmas, don't forget to check out manscaped.com. And when you do, get 20% off and free shipping with the code MotoGP. That's the code MotoGP at manscaped.com.
Seamless.
Thank you. It wasn't even planned, but
that
it wasn't.
Was pretty good. That was pretty good. That was our professional moment for the year.
That's exactly it. It's all downhill from here, man.
That's next year as well.
But that is the end of the show, guys. We'll go through the Fantasy League next week. We'll run through the entire championship next week. We've got a lot of shows planned for the off-season, guys, so stick with us. If you are craving your fix of MotoGP and you want to chat to anyone about MotoGP, you can chat to us. You can just drop us an email or whatever it is, but you can find us on...
We are For the Love of MotoGP. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, or come and join the Facebook community. That's still going strong. The chat this week has been insane. It's been really good.
Yes, it has been very, very
Come and
good.
join us, get involved. Or if you want to email us, drop us an email at fortheloveofmotogp@gmail.com.
Nicely done. Speaking of the Facebook group, Steve, we had someone asking about maybe shaving a favourite circuit into my pubic hair.
Nice.
Using my Manscaped razor. So I'm currently going through the process of growing my pubic hair out again.
Right.
So I can try and shave. I probably can't do my favourite track, but I'm going to look at the track maps. So I'm going to see which is the most simple. And maybe actually Phillip Island is one of the most simple to do.
It might be. I was thinking about maybe we could just go off on a tangent and do an oval.
I could definitely do just like Indy. That'd be easy.
That would be pretty simple.
Fine. But I think maybe I'm going to try and shave a track map into my pubic regions.
Oh, Jesus.
So you can look forward to that in the Facebook group. When
I'll do my chest.
Yeah, I could do my chest. That's fine.
Yeah, we can go with that.
There we go.
Right, we'll have a go.
Steve and I are going to try and groom our favourite track maps into our body hair, and we'll just see how it turns out.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. To be fair, though, I could probably get one on one side of my head, one on the other.
I was then looking at your
one on the back,
thinking...
That's 3 tracks on my head. I could probably get a couple on my chest, one on my stomach, get one on my pubes. I could get one on each arse cheek.
How hairy are you?
I'm a hairy man, Steve. I could probably shave most of the calendar into my body hair.
Jesus. That's going to be a hell of a show.
It will be a hell of a show. Poor old Cherie's going to be one I have to use my arse. I'm going to reach that.
We're filming that. Check out YouTube. Oh, my God.
Anyway, before I commit to too many shaving incidents here, let's wrap this show up, Steve.
Yep. I think for your safety.
Thank you very much. So, guys, thank you all very much for listening. We will speak to you next week. Stay safe and look after each other.
Music is by Andrew Greenwood. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.